Kincade and Andrew Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
And a happy Tuesday to everybody out there across the Delaware Valley. I'm Connor Thomas sitting in for Andrew Salciunas. To my left, John Kincade, and a 500 night for Philadelphia sports last night. Now, the Phillies winning in April is not as important as the Sixers continuing their postseason push. So if you had to pick one last night, I'd imagine most fans would have probably said, hey, it'd be really cool to see the Sixers go into San Antonio and knock off the Spurs. I predicted that they were going to. Yeah, and it didn't exactly go the way that I thought. And the weird thing is Victor Wembanyama goes down in that game with an injury, so the Sixers had a great opportunity. It just couldn't close things out, which has been a theme for this team lately of not being able to get a bucket in crunch time, which with everybody back healthy is a lot more concerning for a team getting ready to try and find their way into the actual playoffs. And then once they get there, what you see in the fourth quarter of regular season basketball games is essentially what the entire game turns into in postseason NBA basketball games. So there's stuff to work out there, whether that's players, whether that's coaching. There's stuff for the Sixers to figure out. And we're now big fans of the Miami Heat because, we're going to have to be, because that is a situation where you really need Miami to knock off Toronto one, preferably two times. And then, as you brought up to me before the show, Johnny, some of the other teams that are in the play-in spots are gaining on the Sixers.
Yeah, they're right
well.
behind you. You talked about it earlier. Is that I thought last night as I was dozing in and out, last night was a little bit of a struggle bus. I saw up until 4-2 of the Phillies game. I saw Bryce Harper drill one off the wall, and then it was like, not off time. Are the Sixers making a playoff push, Connor?
They're trying to.
But are they? I know that the Flyers are. I don't feel like the Sixers are. I feel like the Sixers are trying. I don't think they're rolling over or anything like that. But where I feel like the Flyers are making a playoff push, I feel like the Sixers are slogging along.
Have you ever seen somebody running and you could tell they're about to lose their balance? Like they're leaning too far forward and they're about to fall over.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like the Sixers are doing.
I see that at the Turkey Trot every year.
Yeah.
I can see people after mile 2 where you see people are just running too far forward. And I go, oh, geez, this is about to be a mess.
They're kind of moving in the right direction, but it feels like they're very out of control of what they should be in control of, or what you'd like to see them in control of. So we're going to talk about the Sixers and what they were unable to accomplish last night. And we'll do our typical with the postseason pushes going on in this city right now between the Sixers and Flyers, looking at your rooting interests. Big game tonight for the Flyers.
And another big game that's being played not with the Flyers that really influences them. Connor, if two things happen tonight, I'm prepared to say tomorrow morning that the Flyers are in the playoffs.
So we will get into that. Now, one thing that was nice to see for the Sixers last night, Joel Embiid did have 34 and 12, a strong performance by the big man.
He really did.
Especially after he got a little hobbled really early in the game, and he goes and sits on the scorer's table and was working on that left leg. And it's like, oh, here we go again. But he played out the game.
He did.
He looked like what I expected him to look like, especially in the time that he played against Wemby. So we're going to have an interesting conversation about Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper. And the reason Bryce Harper is part of this conversation is because of the night he had in the Phillies' comeback win last night over the Giants. 6-4, the final. If you went to bed early, you might have missed a great
I didn't
comeback.
mean to. I apologize. I did not mean to. It just got too comfortable, and I was out.
Well, Bryce Harper, a 3-hit night, 2 doubles, a bunch of RBIs, a big run scored on a sacrifice fly from Brandon Marsh. A lot of stuff went on in this game. And, because it's such a late game, and I imagine a lot of folks who are up now at 6 with us listening might not have been up at 11 or close to midnight when
made
the
me
Phillies
feel bad.
were staging their comeback. It happens.
There we go.
Sleep's important. We always do the high hopes montage when the Phils win. And even though Andrew Salciunas is down in Florida on vacation this week, today is no different. So courtesy of NBC Sports Philadelphia, here's what the Phils comeback sounded like last night.
When you are down, lift your head off the ground. There's a lot to be learned, so look around.
Harper coming up. Line drive out toward right field. That is a smoke shot right off the scoreboard. One run is in. Harper going to second. He has a second double of the night. And over to third is Schwarber. It's 4-2. Ground ball over to first. Nice hop for Harper. He'll just bring it to the bag. 6 up, 6 down for the Phillies bullpen, keeping it within reach. Now the bases are now loaded for Harper, who's got 2 doubles tonight. Hit on the ground, right side, base hit it to right field. One run is in. Here comes Turner. He's going to score. And Harper has 3 hits tonight and 3 RBIs. And the Phillies have tied it up at 4. Off the end of the bat, a spinner down the right field line. Schwarber's going to score. Harper's going to third. Harper's now being held. It'll be a double for Bohm as he gets. Brandon Marsh, one of their hottest hitters, off the hands, out towards short left. Ramos is coming in, tagging at third is Harper. Ramos has it. His throw toward the plate is not in time. A sac fly. It's 6-4 Phils. Ground ball out to shortstop. Turner has it. He straightens and throws in time, and the ball game is over. The Phillies have come from behind to win it 6-4. It's the first time since 2014 that they've won game 1 of a series out here at Oracle Park.
There goes another Robert Creek. Whoop, there goes another Robert Creek plan.
First time since 2014 they've won game 1 out there in San Francisco.
That makes no sense to me.
They don't play well there.
But it's a change, and I told you yesterday. I got a feeling that the tide's about to turn out there, even though it really didn't turn for Andrew Painter.
No, it did not. He had a rough start. He was getting touched up a little bit, just missing up in the zone too much. And
Ruben was talking about it on the broadcast is you can't live. He was living too much behind in the count.
Yes.
And that seemed to be the story last night.
Absolutely. And it's different for him. It's his first road start as a major league pitcher, and being at Citizens Bank Park with everybody chanting your name and the painters in the crowd. It's more comfortable being at home for young players.
Sure it is, yeah.
It's a learning experience for him. But the beautiful thing in this game, I'm going to be careful here because people might get mad at this. Bryce Harper, an elite night at the plate.
No, it
is
was
that
an
a good
elite
way
night
to
at the plate.
describe it?
Look, I managed to stay awake for 2 of the extra base hits. Look, he looked great last night. And even though, just to me, I don't care as much about the power as I care about production. To me, it's about production. It's about are you knocking in runs? Are you able to be the guy who can be a run producer? Because that's what they need in this lineup. They need him to be able to do that, and boy, he was able to do it last night. That was a great night at the plate for Harper. And again, we talked about it last week. Do I think he's an elite level performer anymore? He's up there with the Ohtanis and the Judges and everything. I do not. Do I think he is still a very, very good player? Yeah, I do. And I think like last week when he was having his terrible run, I said, I'm not worried that Bryce Harper is going to go on a run and clean up those numbers. And look, if he continues to do stuff like that, they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, and what's nice about that is we've seen Bryce Harper have good swings in individual at-bats this year, couple of homers, but we have not seen, because of the long off season and dealing with the fallout of the Dodgers series, we haven't seen a game where it's like, you won this game because you have Bryce Harper on your baseball team. And that was what last night was for the Phillies, and that's something that is good to see for this team. But there's a lot more to this Bryce Harper conversation, because one of the questions that's been asked a lot, is he having fun anymore? Now, my gut feeling on that is we'll see it when the team gets hot. And that's just me.
Okay, so explain to me you're saying then, because that is a worrisome comment to me. But I want you to explain it because maybe I'm misinterpreting, because it sounds like it's a worrisome comment to me.
I think the point we're at with this baseball team and how many expectations are heaped on them with what they have to accomplish to be successful. They've got to win the World Series for it to be a successful season.
Okay.
Nothing short will do.
Gotcha.
Winning is the only thing that's going to make him happy. I don't think he's going to find joy in the little parts of the season.
Okay, then that really worries me.
Tell me why.
Because I think that the object is that Bryce Harper has to be a team leader. Bryce Harper has to be a guy who is the veteran who leads the charge. It's a 162 season. It's a long season. There's ups and downs. I can't have one of my leaders be wake me up in October type, mopey, not feeling his best. I need him to be the energetic guy that is inspired, that leads. And so that's what I'm hoping that Bryce Harper's going to be.
Yeah, I understand that. Now,
and not bummed out Bryce, not mopey Bryce. I can't have that.
Well, last night he wasn't bummed out, Bryce, post-game. He had a chance to talk to the guys on the TV broadcast. So he was talking with Tom McCarthy and Ruben Amaro Jr. And his last question in the interview, you'll hear Tom McCarthy set it up, was just about the locker room and how that plays into a comeback win like this. But I want you to hear something that we haven't heard from Bryce Harper in quite a while when he answers this question.
I think it's a credit to what you guys have built in that clubhouse that you have nights like this, because it seems so quiet and then you just exploded and you just stayed in it the entire time.
Yeah, we actually hate each other. You know? We have a blast. I mean, it's. I mean, obviously we want to win and do the things the right way, but win or lose, we're always pretty similar and the same in what we kind of act like and what we do. So. Really good group of guys that we have, and from top to bottom, it's great clubhouse.
Well, nice job, buddy. That was a great night for you, great night for the team. Go enjoy it.
Appreciate you guys. Go Flyers.
Well,
now I know you're excited about that last part there, Johnny. That was a go Flyers. We'll get to that in a second.
Oh, jeez.
But Bryce Harper taking the time to make a joke, saying the team is having a blast. Obviously, they don't hate each other. Maybe last year that might have been a different story with a certain right fielder, but that's a conversation for the past.
Exactly, another thing for another day, right?
But hearing him talk like that does bring a smile to my face, because whether you're a big Bryce Harper person or not, it is undeniable that he has not seemed to be enjoying or having as much fun as we've seen him have in the past.
Can I just tell you something? And maybe, look, this may play the grumpy old man routine, but I'm willing to play it. I'm so freaking tired of hearing about guys making tens of millions of dollars, and I'm having to hear about whether they're happy or not. I'm so pissed about it. I'm like, it just annoys the hell out of me, whether they're happy or not. You know who isn't happy? There's Joe the plumber, who's listening to us right now on the app as he's loading up his toolkit and getting everything set up for all the jobs he's got to do today. He's got 9 jobs he's loading onto the truck. You know who might not be happy going to work? The teacher, who has an overcrowded classroom out in Montgomery County because they've overloaded the classroom. She's got 32 kids when she should be teaching like 25. I'm so tired of hearing it. Well, is Bryce Harper happy? Is Joel Embiid happy? Is A.J. Brown happy? I cannot imagine the tone deafness to worry about whether multi-millionaires are happy at work. You know who isn't happy at work? The vast majority of people, when they got to get their backsides out of bed and they're trying to make ends meet. I'm so tired of hearing about it. And it is a problem. I think it's a big-time problem.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me, because I believe people who are feeling good about where they're at and what they're doing is better for the overall quality of work, whether that is the plumber, the teacher, or the professional athlete. So a happy star is, to me, a more productive star in the long term. And when you start to see guys not like where they're at, well, you get the 14-year-long Giannis Antetokounmpo Bucks saga where every day is new drama, and we have plenty of drama in this city. That's just the first example.
We got enough of our own.
That came to mind. But it's not just a Philadelphia thing, and it's not like, they shouldn't. They're not happy because the money they're making and everything. To me, it's more just, I'm glad to hear him in a positive way talk about this baseball team, because it feels like we haven't heard it for so long. But all of this brings us to our big conversation of the day, because Embiid had a nice night, even though the Sixers came up short, 115-102, the final against San Antonio down there.
Did you ever think they were winning that game last night?
There was a point in the early third quarter where I was like, if they don't collapse in the third, they can make a run at it in the fourth. I
did not think they were winning. It just didn't, for whatever reason, when the game went to half, what was it, 62-55 at half? I think it was a 7-point game at half. I was just not feeling it. I just wasn't feeling that they were going to win that game. It was disappointing to me a little bit.
They played them closer than they have previous times.
Yeah,
they've
they
seen
did.
Them. So
absolutely.
Maybe there's something.
And I love
that.
VJ Edgecombe.
But we're a little late in the season for moral victories.
Yeah, I don't want any moral victory talk. Yeah.
On the line. But Harper and Embiid are very interesting to me, because I'm thinking about both of them last night when the game's finished. I'm doing a show sheet at like 1 a.m. because I got to stay up for every Phillies game. And in my half-asleep state, I'm like, these guys are a lot more similar than they are different with the way that they're viewed in the city, with what their resumes are as members of the Philadelphia sports scene. So I want to know, our question
You got to
for
embellish
you today,
on this one a little bit. I got to hear this one.
You can answer this at 610-632-0975. You can call in, you can text in, you can send us voice memos. A lot of ways for you to jump into the show today. Do you view Bryce Harper and Joel Embiid the same way right now as star players in this city? Do you look at them as one in the same or close to it? They're both undeniably talented individually. They're both part of teams that, even though the Phillies quote-unquote hump is further along than the Sixers, have not been able to get over that hump to the true goal, which is winning a championship in this city. They both have MVP trophies in this city as members of these teams, individual accomplishments. But they also both have, I don't want to say issues with their personality, but there are quirks that have popped up throughout their time here that have put them at odds, whether it's right now or it's past incidents, with the fan base in this city. Bryce Harper seems to make more of the effort to connect. You heard it with the Go Flyers
Does
thing
he
there.
make more of an effort to connect? He absolutely does.
Yeah, he does. I appreciate him saying Go Flyers, even though he's probably busy with his team to
he probably is,
watch
yes.
the games.
Yes.
But I see these guys as one and the same right now. I really do. I think they're so similar in how the city looks at them. If you ask anybody, are they good basketball player, good baseball player, everybody should say yes.
Good. I say better than good.
Yeah.
I say very good to almost to moments of greatness. Absolutely.
But it feels like they are both on the downside in the court of public opinion. And I want to know if, when you think about them, what are the similarities to you between how you view Joel Embiid and how you view Bryce Harper, or the differences? So, Johnny, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Like, do you look at them as the same?
No, I don't. Because Bryce has come through in the biggest moments and the biggest times for this city to advance it when it matters the most. And that's the postseason. Look, stars are made in the postseason. Allen Iverson is known for one play more than any other. And it's not even a basket. It's a step over of another human being. The ultimate, like, I got you, disrespect. It just sums up AI. It's the big stage. Embiid doesn't have any big stage moments for us. There's no big stage moments for Joel Embiid. There's none.
He's had some good postseason performances, but not to the level of
winning
Harper.
a first-round series does nothing for me in the NBA. Nothing. It means nothing. It means you advanced to the last 8 teams that were alive. And in Joel Embiid's tenure, they've never gotten past the last 8 teams that were alive. I give him a ton of credit for that Knicks series. I told you, I've never been more impressed with him than that Knicks series. I loved it. I thought it was a great series. I thought he really showed out. I found it very promising. So if he gets back to the playoffs this year, if he builds on that great performance there, I'm very confident that I'm like, hey, maybe we see a different Joel Embiid. But no, Bryce Harper has provided big moments, big stage. That's the difference for me. I do not look at them the same.
Now, I wonder, because I don't disagree with your assessment there. Bryce Harper has had the bigger postseason moments in series that matter more.
Correct.
I wonder how many people look at, because part of this is an organizational thing. Sure, we're the good club stuff with Dave Dombrowski has a lot of people on the outs with the Philadelphia Phillies.
Got a good club
right now.
They got a good club, Connor.
I get it. I do. But I wonder, because if you had to ask, I'd imagine more people have angst with the Sixers, considering the long-term issues.
Yeah, and I blame the Sixers organization as much as I blame Joel Embiid, too.
I wonder how many people look at that and say Joel Embiid has gotten a bit of a raw deal compared to what Harper has had around him.
That's fair. That's fair to say that it's a contributing factor. But I haven't seen Joel do enough to take care of himself from the time his career started to be a professional, do the right things, the woe is me routine that we just went through this week. I just see him constantly stepping in dog poop.
I think it would be a really good. Have you ever done one of those, like, find the, like, 3 or 4 differences with this picture exercises?
Oh, yeah.
Where
They used to have them in children's highlights.
I think that's Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper right now. There are some slight differences, but more is the same than different to me. And with both of them constantly in the spotlight and both in really interesting spots in their timeline in this city, I want to know where the fan base is. Are they the same to you? Are they different? And what brings you to that point? We'll continue to react to the games from last night. We're also going to look forward to the Flyers. And coming up next, well, we're not going to have a party without Jalen Hurts invited to it, especially when we're talking about the view of star players. We'll bring the quarterback into the conversation as we continue this one. It's Kincade Salciunas, Connor Thomas in for Andrew Salciunas, who's on vacation, John Kincade to my left, Austin Jones on the board. And we're back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Harper pushes the Phillies. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. I hope you stayed up last night as to watch the Phillies come back against the San Francisco Giants. The Fightings won 6-4 after being down to begin the 7th inning. Bryce Harper led the charge, going 3-for-4 with 3 RBIs. Harper spoke postgame about the fight that is within this Phillies team.
It's just a lot of fight in this club. You know, we're a really good team, and just gotta go out there and do those things and play the game well, play it right, have good at bats, good pitching, all that kind of stuff. So when all of it gets put together, it's pretty good.
The 76ers were in San Antonio last night, and they fell to the Spurs, even with Joel Embiid scoring 34 points and Victor Wembanyama leaving the game early due to a left rib contusion. The Sixers are still in the 7th seed with 3 games left in the regular season. They'll be back on the court Thursday night against the Houston Rockets, and it's a big night for the Flyers as they're in New Jersey to take on the Devils. The Fly Guys have won both meetings so far this season. The third and final will begin tonight at 7 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. And March Madness came to a close last night as Michigan won their first NCAA basketball men's championship since 1989. This update's also brought to you by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has led inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more at crohnscolitisfoundation.org. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and The Fanatic app.
This hour of Kincade Salciunas is presented by Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White, they're here for the pro.
Back at it here. Andrew Salciunas on vacation down in Florida, so I'm Connor Thomas sitting alongside John Kincade. We got you covered for a big week in Philadelphia sports.
It is.
Dueling playoff pushes. Phillies got things going. The draft's right around the corner. It's going to be one of those weeks where we are all over the place day to day. We're not just going to zone in on one team because there are a lot of things happening right now. But our big focus today are two-star players. To me, Joel Embiid, Bryce Harper, very, very similar spots right now in Philadelphia with the view from the fan base, with the resume they put together. And just case in point, we asked the question, do you view these guys as similar entities in the Philadelphia sports scene? That's our question today, and you can chime in on the Davis Honda text line, 610-632-0975. You can call in. You can leave us voice memos. And we've got the YouTube rolling. You can always watch the show on YouTube as well. And back-to-back comments here on the YouTube. Daniel Miller saying, I love Joel, top 5 Sixer ever, but I'm over him and this team. And then right below that, Money Marsh says, Harper just got over 200 last night. Let's relax on crowning Harper as a lead after one game. This is silly. Embiid is still top 5 when he's on the court.
Okay, I can't do the straw man crap. Nobody is crafting him as elite.
No, but the point is,
like nobody, in fact, that is exactly the opposite of what I said, and you didn't say anything like it. I don't believe he's elite anymore.
No, but that's not the point. The point of what I'm getting...
But he's more elite in this town than Joel Embiid's been.
Well, the first one is top 5 Sixer, but I'm over him. The second one is Joel is the top 5 player when he's on the court.
How about Bryce Harper does every damn thing he can to be on the field for the Phillies. In fact, coming back from injury way early, multiple times, like exceeding expectations to get back on the field to play the maximum amount of games that he possibly can, even against doctor's orders at times, to be back to help the Phillies win. That can never be said about Joel Embiid. He's come back in some playoff things. I will never question his toughness.
Yeah, he's played through a lot of stuff.
Joel Embiid playing with that mask, I got to tell you, playing with that mask, the way he plays, and he doesn't play close to the basket much, but I got to tell you, in an NBA game, I'd be with a broken face, broken eyeballs, or whatever.
I'm not out there.
I'm not out there. Like, I mean, I'd be freaked out. So I've never questioned Embiid's toughness, but Embiid says, quote unquote, himself. These are his quotes. You got to be 100% out there. Bryce Harper would never say, I need to be 100% to be out there.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper would never utter those words, never believe that, never embody that.
But
there's a difference in the guys.
I also have seen Joel Embiid play many times where he's not at 100% in some big games for the Sixers. Let's be fair here.
Yes.
Part of the conversation for both of these guys. Now, Joel Embiid gets a lot more of it because of the NBA culture of load management. And the way he's handled himself early in his career, he's opened himself up for this.
Yeah, he's the one who's brought that to the plate.
But a big part of the conversation with Bryce Harper has also been he's got a lot of tread on those tires, a lot of wear and tear on the tires, right?
Because he's a young player who's played a lot. Joel Embiid has missed as many games in the NBA as he's played. It's a completely different argument with Embiid.
But Harper's a guy that when you look at projecting from where he is now to where he could be as this contract continues to play out,
okay,
is health an issue for Bryce Harper? We've talked about health a lot for him.
Well, I think it will be. I mean, it could be a huge issue.
So to be fair to both of them, the health is part of the conversation, significantly more so for Joel, but it's not like Bryce Harper has been a 162 every year guy for the Phillies.
No, but Bryce Harper, though, again, is a guy who has, I mean, Bryce Harper's done every single thing in his power to be on the field for the maximum amount of games that he can play. That's completely different than Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid literally tells us, if I'm not 100%, I don't want to play. He's quoted. I mean, he's like, I want to be, you got to be 100% to be out there. Now, in the playoffs and everything, he has shown, I'll be there for that. But Bryce Harper wants to play every inning of every game if he can. He doesn't even want to sit out on one of the Rob Thompson give-up lineup days.
So there's a lot of layers to this, obviously, because you can go with the way they interact with the fan base. You could go with the team success and how it affects things. You could go with the injuries and being available. But we have our Twitter poll up. Of course, as always, the Twitter poll is up thanks to Dr. Avi Donapel of Iron Mountain Men's Health. 4 hours strong in the morning, 4 hours strong in the afternoon. He's always helping us out.
Thanks, Doc.
On both Kincade and Salciunas and Unfiltered. And for our poll today, we wanted to break it down to like the base level we could get this argument to. The simplest thing, which I don't think is a simple answer, but Johnny, when we came up with this poll, you thought it was. So Austin, what is our Twitter poll today?
Yeah, so today's Twitter poll is who has the best individual resume in their time in Philadelphia, Joel Embiid or Bryce Harper?
So you can join in on that on 97.5, the Fanatics Twitter account. And that to me is as simple as you can make it.
That's as simple as it can be stated.
For the sports part of the conversation.
Correct.
Now, you think that's an easy answer?
I do. I really do. And Connor, maybe it'll go on. I think this will fall on the lines of are you one of the process truthers? Are you one of the people that is literally going to be, I say it all the time to some of the youngsters around this place, I say, look, would you please turn the lights off? Whichever one of you is last out of the room of this process crap that you will not give up on, like it's going to happen one of these years, would you please turn the lights off? When you leave, turn the lights off. And I think that it falls along those lines, is that it's the idea that people don't want to give up the idea that this is finally one of these years this is going to work out. I don't want to give you the spoiler alert. It's not. It's not.
Well,
now will it work out? Now will it work out for could it work out to win a second round series sometime? I hope so.
Yeah.
Is it going to work out that Joel Embiid's cutting down, and we're celebrating and going down Broad Street and winning a title? It's not. If you want to believe in fairy tales, I mean, I'll spin you some fairy tales.
I want to believe in fairy tales.
Can I believe that Bryce Harper is going to lead a parade down right down Broad Street? I absolutely can believe that, and I have every reason to believe that he could do that because he's shown me that he can do that on the biggest stage at the biggest times.
But we're talking about what can happen. This question on the Twitter poll is individual resume,
and I've already seen it. I've already seen it. With Bryce Harper.
I have voted on the poll, and I have voted for Joel Embiid. Because to me, in his time here in Philadelphia, now part of this is the length of time they've been here. Joel Embiid has been here longer than Bryce Harper.
He has.
But Joel Embiid has played at a higher level, more consistently, when he's been on the floor than Bryce Harper.
He's missed as many games as he's played. I can't say that. I can't say something like that, make a statement like that.
When he is on the floor for the Sixers, he is a better player in the landscape of the NBA than Bryce Harper is in the landscape of Major League Baseball.
When you have to make the disclaimer of when he's on the floor, that to me is when it falls apart.
And I think a lot of people feel that.
That to me is when it falls apart. He's never. You got to be. Let's wake Herm Edwards up out in California. You got to be available. You got to be available to play. And Bryce Harper does everything in his power to be available to play. I can't. And look, I have a feeling also along age lines. I think younger fans may get more votes towards Embiid.
It's really interesting because they have the funny thing is the individual resumes match up so well. Both have an MVP.
Both have
played at an incredibly high level. Both have these certain deficiencies in their game.
And both, by the way, like I think Joel Embiid is I've been in his presence a few times, so I'm not going to talk about like I don't know him well or anything. But I think they're both likable guys.
Yeah,
too.
I agree.
They're both likable guys. Like Bryce Harper is more likable than he comes across on an interview.
Yeah.
I've had a chance to talk. I've had a chance to be at a blocker. I've had a chance to. Bryce Harper's more likable in a one-on-one than he is with a microphone in his face.
It'll be really interesting to see where that poll goes and where our conversation goes today. I want to bring Jalen Hurts into this too because he opens up another layer to.
He always does, doesn't he, Connor?
He really does. He's an interesting cat, as his dad once said.
He always does.
So where does he fit into this equation? We're not going to put him in the same place because there's one big difference between Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper in their camp and Jalen Hurts in the other. And that is the ring on Jalen Hurts' finger. No, I'm not talking about marriage. I am talking about championship. He's won a Super Bowl in this town. So immediately there, he's not the same picture as Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper.
He's not.
I have a question for you, Johnny. Is he more talented individually than Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper?
Who, Jalen Hurts?
Yes.
No.
Not even close. Well, I don't want to say
No, don't
want to say
that.
not
Don't
even
say that.
close. But
no,
that's an easy answer to say no
I think it's an
on, right?
easy answer to say no on. But to me, what I really love about Jalen Hurts is that, and it's one of the reasons why I'm the biggest fan of him, and I'm a big fan of his, is that I know, unlike Joel Embiid, unlike Bryce Harper even, in the biggest games of Bryce Harper's career, he hasn't come through. In the biggest games of Jalen Hurts' career, he has come through. And to me, I look at it and say, when the pressure's on the most and the game matters the most, there are certain people who things slow down for. I know this, Connor. You and I are in a big money match. We're playing golf against somebody, and we're in a big money match, and I have a 6-foot putt to make, and I know we're going to win $30-40 if I make this putt. I know that I am looking over that putt, and I'm not confident. Jalen Hurts is ice water in his veins at the biggest moments of his career. And I can't tell you how much I admire that. Like
it's
because
important.
people who do that. Now look, as great a career as Bryce Harper's had, I can't go back to you're up 2-1 in the World Series. You have 2 games coming at home, and it's a disappearing act. You're up 3-2. You come home for 2 games in 2023 against the Arizona Diamondbacks, and you wet the bed at home and you're a non-factor. I can't get past that.
Well, I think part of it is the sample size, right? Bryce Harper, when he plays in these big series, you see him play 5, 6, 7 games. Jalen Hurts has 2 Super Bowls. So the sample size isn't necessarily comparable. He was awesome in both of them. My reason for playing
and the NFC title game. And
yeah.
Look, he hasn't had a bad. Like, I mean, he's had
some bad playoff games, but
is he the reason they lost the playoff games?
No, I can't think back.
Like, I can't think that where I'm saying Jalen's the reason you lost a playoff game.
But here's my thing.
But I'm a wonk for Jalen, though.
Yeah,
I'm a bit of a Jalen. Like, I am a Jalen Hurts truther by all points.
But the individual talent level of Jalen Hurts is not to Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper.
I would agree with that.
But the ring makes a difference. So do we care about talent level if it doesn't yield results for the team? And is that a fair way to evaluate in team sports? I mean, we have in the past in this town been okay with talent even without results. Allen Iverson, probably the biggest example.
Sure.
It's another intriguing level of this, of what makes these guys special to you. So we'll continue that conversation. We're going to check the Davis Honda text line coming up. But the Flyers cannot be lost in this conversation of the week. They could take a huge step tonight to locking up a playoff berth. John Kincade is ready to make, a guarantee? Are we going to get a guarantee?
Not a CT18 guarantee. Those are for you.
Well, I'll leave whatever you'd like to make coming up next, but you have a bold take on the Flyers and what tonight could mean for them. We'll get into that coming up as Kincade Salciunas continues here on The Fanatic.
Okay, I got to tell you that if you are specializing in retirement and financial planning, like my friends at Dan White and Associates have done for almost 4 decades, that means you have been listening to your clients, because each client is going to come to you with their own agenda and their own needs and their own issues. And that means that they listen and they come up with individualized plans that help them all reach that final destination that they wish. They've got offices in Glen Mills, PA, Middletown, Delaware, and Lewis, Delaware, and they offer you a complimentary no-risk consultation, because a lot of people just want to be able to have that one-on-one conversation about money. Having that first conversation about money, though, can be awkward. That's why you meet with the team at Dan White and Associates. They're going to make it very, very comfortable with you. And they're going to educate you on retirement planning. And they're going to educate you on financial planning. So if you're in your 30s and you're starting out, if you're in your 60s and you're heading towards the finish line, they can make sure that you find certainty in your financial future. I really like these folks. You're going to meet them. You're going to like them. You're going to feel comfortable. Have the first conversation. It'll beget a second and a third. You're going to love Dan White and Associates. Check them out on the web at danwhiteandassociates.com.
Last night, the Sixers unfortunately falling 115-102 to the Spurs down in San Antonio. The Phils, big comeback win out in San Francisco, 6-4. The seventh inning was huge for them. Their first win in Game 1 of a series in San Francisco since 2014. Feels like a fake stat, but is indeed true. So
House of Horrors. It just has always been a bad place.
It has been. But last night, it turned into a good one, even if it was a bit of a rough start for them. And because of the strong performances by Bryce Harper, had a nice 3-hit night, a huge reason why the Phils won that game. And Joel Embiid, who did have 34 and 12 in the loss, we're comparing those two players. And if you look at them in a similar light with how you view them as star players in this city right now. So we'll continue to have that conversation. We're going to check the text line later on in the segment because the YouTube's been buzzing. I imagine the text line's been hot this morning as well. And you know who else has been red hot? It's those Philadelphia Flyers who take on the Devils tonight. Another big opportunity for them to take another, maybe not step, maybe leap, maybe lock into a playoff position if you believe
You're
John
getting
Kincade.
bold there. You're getting bold. Look, I'm going to tell you right now. It's people are getting confused because I'm seeing people on social media that are talking about all the different teams that the Flyers have to watch. The Flyers have to watch one team. Now that you're in the position, you can watch the team that's trailing you. And you're in the playoff position that's locked. You're in the divisional playoff position, third place. That's an automatic bid to the playoffs. All you have to do is watch the two teams behind you and eliminate them. You have 90 points. The Islanders are behind you with 89. Tonight is the game in hand with the Islanders. Win at New Jersey tonight, the Flyers. They will be up by 3 points on the Islanders with a game in hand. Connor, I will tell you, it is over if they win tonight.
So it's done. Flyers in the playoffs if they win tonight over the New Jersey Devils.
Even though the Islanders have 4 games left and they're 3 points behind. Because look at it this way. The Islanders, the best thing they could do, if they won all 4 games, a team that just fired their coach has to win 4 games in a row. That's not happening. I don't believe that. So I'll give them, let's say I give them 3 wins. Let's say I give them 3 wins and say under their new coach, Peter DeBoer, they're going to go, they're going to get 3 wins out of 4. Let's just say they finish with 95. The Flyers win tonight, they're going to have 92. Yeah, I feel good that they can split their last 4 games and go to the playoffs. The Flyers are going to the playoffs if they win tonight. And the Washington Capitals will pretty much be eliminated if the Flyers win tonight. They'll be up by 5 with 4 to play. They will pretty much eliminate the Caps. All you got to worry about is the Islanders and the Caps. Don't get hung up on what the Senators, the Red Wings, and the Jackets, even though that could be a fallback position, I think the Senators are in. I think the Senators have got the second wild card locked up. They're tied with the Flyers right now with 90 points. They have 5 games left, but 3 of those games are against teams that are already eliminated. So I just, that have not been playing that hard down the stretch. I don't think they're going to be playing that hard at the end of the season.
So another big opportunity tonight, everything in front of them.
Huge.
I'm not ready to say what you're ready to say there with the lock. I'm not going to go as far as that.
A big O. Over.
But hey, I appreciate you taking that stance.
Tomorrow morning, I will tell you it's over.
And here's why tonight's a big game as well. Not just because of the implications of it potentially being John Kincade over for them making the postseason. We did a poll yesterday about when you bought in on the Flyers, and there was over 10% of the responders, which it's small in the grand scheme of things. But for over 10% of the people responded to that poll saying, I bought in on Sunday, on Easter Sunday, watching Porter Martone score the game-winning goal in overtime to knock off the Bruins. This is another night where momentum has built for this team. I imagine if you're out there and you're one of those 10 to 12%, whatever it finished at, that just bought in on Sunday, you're all fired up, ready for them to take on the Devils tonight. And this is a team you should beat.
And the Devils, would just love to screw the Flyers over.
They absolutely would.
And you know who owns the Devils?
That would be Josh Harris.
Exactly. The guy who owns 2 teams that we hate, the Devils and the Commodes, which just still pisses me off.
And one team we're still pulling for as the Sixers try and find a way out of the play-in tournament. But this is the one where it's just like you've got a lot of new eyes, even on top of the win.
You got to win tonight. Yeah. Tonight is a win. You'll hear it here on the Fanatic. You got to win tonight this game in hand. Because then It is a collective, and I'm not saying exhale, but it will feel that way because it's going to put so much pressure on. I don't believe the Caps are alive. Like, I don't believe the Caps are truly in it. But for the Islanders, they know they're 3 points back with 4 to play. They know that they can't lose. They lose a game, they feel like it's over.
Right.
They feel like it's over. So at that point, there's so much pressure on them with every game to go win. And I want them to feel the screws on them like that every single game. That's why winning tonight is so huge.
Well, let's hope. We know Bryce Harper's going to be, well, no, he's got a game. But he said go Flyers in his
Go
postgame.
Flyers.
That's how he ended that with NBC
Surprised
Sports
he didn't have gritty, batting gloves or something.
Everybody's all the way in, though, on this team. It's a great thing to see. Now, I hope a lot of people are also in on the text line. We've been comparing Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper. So, Austin Jones, who's on the board today. Austin, what do we have on the Davis Honda text line so far?
Yeah, so this is from Nelson in Miami. Don't look now, but we're right back where we were just before the process began. Good enough to start and get to a 7-8 seed, but not good enough to make a serious run in the playoffs, and not bad enough to get in the lottery to evaluate ourselves out of this situation. Welcome to 76ers Purgatory, a familiar place.
It's absolutely not. I'll totally disagree with that.
76ers Purgatory?
I will totally disagree with back to where you were before the process.
No, you're not there because you've got Maxey and Edgecombe.
Exactly.
And I love watching VJ Edgecombe play basketball. And look, and I didn't mention Tyrese Maxey. I love Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, a bit of a slow night for Maxey last night.
Yeah, I get it.
He's going to be fine.
But Tyrese Maxey gives me enough that I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm really, really, I feel very, very good about that. You can go find other pieces, but you got to get rid of some of the stuff that's not going to be. Paul George and Joel Embiid are not going to be part of a parade down Broad Street. They're just not going to be.
It's probably a safe bet to make it.
We're not having a parade down Broad Street with Paul George and Joel Embiid.
But pieces holding you back is different than where the Sixers were pre-process. Pre-process, you had Andre Iguodala and Rookie of the Year Michael Carter-Williams.
You're feeling good.
Just like, okay, what else can we do with this? And you didn't believe in MCW the way that you can believe in Tyrese Maxey, and I believe VJ Edgecombe as well.
I absolutely can believe in both those guys.
So I'll disagree with the texter's point that we're back where we were before the process started. If you still want to call it Sixers Purgatory,
I don't
the
believe
results are very much stagnant, and that's the problem with this team.
Well, I just think that, too, is that there's a lot of aggravating stuff with the Sixers. The Sixers just aggravate me. And maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. But
it's not just you.
Look, it's so frustrating to me.
It is not just you at all. And I wonder
it's not.
How much of that equation is the big man. So coming up, we're going to reset. We've been talking about with Bryce Harper and Joel Embiid. We're going to recap again, if you missed it at the start of the 6 o'clock hour, the big win for the Phils and the Sixers with a little bit of a struggle in San Antonio. And we're going to talk more Jalen Hurts, but not bringing him in on this conversation. There's an interesting article by Jeff McClain, who, of course, covers the Eagles for the Inquirer, about Jeffrey Lurie's relationship with Jalen Hurts and why the owner is a big defender. And, Johnny, it's going to tell us something very important about the hierarchy of the Philadelphia Eagles with where we're at with Jalen Hurts contract-wise. We'll talk about that next as well as the 7 o'clock hour gets rolling. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on The Fanatic.
Now, on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Harper pushes the Phillies. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. I hope you stayed up late last night to watch the Phillies come back against the San Francisco Giants. The Fightings won 6-4 after being down. And to begin the 7th inning, Bryce Harper led the charge going 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Harper spoke post-game about the fight that's in within this Phillies team.
It's just a lot of fight in this club. We're a really good team and just got to, go out there and do those things and play a game well, play it right, have good at-bats, good pitching, all that kind of stuff. So when all of it gets put together, it's pretty good.
The 76ers were in San Antonio last night. They fell to the Spurs, even with Joel Embiid dropping 34 points and Victor Wembanyama leaving the game due to a left rib contusion. The Sixers are still in the 7th seed, and they have 3 games remaining in the regular season. They'll be back on the court Thursday night when they take on the Houston Rockets. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. And it's a big night for the Flyers as they're in New Jersey to take on the Devils. The Fly Guys have won both meetings so far this season, and hopefully they can win this third and final one as they make a push towards the playoffs. Puck drop is set for 7 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Fanatic. March Madness came to an end last night with Michigan winning their first NCAA men's basketball championship since 1989. Amy Fadul joins us in studio from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and NBC Sports Philly analyst Jen Lynam will join us at 9:05. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
Connor Thomas alongside John Kincade. Andrew Salciunas on vacation this week down there in Florida, so he's enjoying a little bit warmer weather than we are. But we're enjoying this postseason push by the Flyers and the Sixers, and a nice Phillies win last night, breaking it all down for you here. Do not go anywhere, because coming up in under an hour, right at the start of the 8 o'clock hour, is another chance for you to win $1,000 in our company-wide contest. Fanatic Parlay Cash comes your way right at 8 a.m. You're going to want that because, man, $1,000 this time of year, summer right around the corner, and maybe it's a weekend down the shore.
It could be. Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be?
Take it. Get down, spend a little money.
So don't go anywhere there.
Do whatever you want.
And also, because we're having some great sports conversation here. So what we started the show with Joel Embiid going 34-12 last night. It wasn't a loss, but a strong performance by him being back on the floor. And Bryce Harper, a 3-hit night, carrying the Phillies to a comeback victory, 6-4 over the San Francisco Giants. And Harper was the best player on the field last night for either team. And that's something we haven't seen in a while. My thought when I was thinking about those two guys' nights was they're in a very similar spot. At least I feel that way. So I wanted to pose that question to the audience and to you, Johnny. And we've been having a lot of back and forth on the different factors that play into how we view Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper in this town, building off of that night last night. Now, it seems that you are much more positive on the Bryce Harper front.
Yeah, I'm not even. It's not even in the same ballpark for me. And look, you can't miss half of your career games, and many of them being your choice to miss. And I can go by his own quotes of, I'm never going to play him back-to-backs again. for the rest of my career, things that he's told us that he's choosing to do. I will take care of I'll be making the decisions from this point out. I'm going to take charge of that. So, look, and I understand some of his frustration with his health, but a lot of his health frustrations come on the fact that his conditioning, things that he's done. So, look, it's all up on Joel Embiid. I don't consider Joel Embiid on the biggest stage. Bryce Harper has performed much, much higher than Joel Embiid has ever dreamed of performing for the Philadelphia fans.
And yet I'd still argue that Joel Embiid's individual resume, I made this argument when we opened up the Dr. Avidan Appel Twitter poll earlier. I would argue that Joel Embiid's individual resume is better in his time in Philadelphia. It may just be a time thing.
But it doesn't, to me, though, it doesn't. His individual resume, what has it given you? What's it given you as a fan?
It's giving
other than
you,
entertainment. And look, we love to be entertained. We love to be entertained, and that does matter.
Yeah,
that does matter.
It's giving you an MVP season and a couple second round appearances.
Connor, I promise you this: someday when Connor Jr. and you were talking, you are not going to be going, son. Let me tell you about that Joel Embiid MVP season.
I will tell him about Joe though.
No, you will, but you guys will be telling. You guys will be telling stories. Let me tell you stories about this guy that I thought was going to be one of the legends of the game by the time he retired that never materialized.
Yeah,
that's the story you're going to be telling Connor Jr. That's the story you're going to be telling him. You're not anything else you tell him is going to be fiction. You're going to be telling him about Bigfoot.
I'm not going to be telling him about Bigfoot.
Yes, you are. You're going to be telling him about, because guess what? Nobody tells stories of yesteryear, of NBA legends. Nobody's telling the stories of February and January. They tell the stories of April, May, and then June.
Now, let me ask you, what has Bryce Harper's time here in Philadelphia brought the Phillies?
Relevance. He took the entire franchise to relevance.
Did not Joel Embiid do the same for the Sixers?
No.
Okay, no.
They have not been better than the last 8 teams in the NBA ever. That's not winning a first-round playoff series doesn't make you relevant.
Okay. I mean,
what do you mean relevant?
You don't have to make it to the conference finals to be relevant.
Wait a minute. Relevant as far as people talking about you? Sure.
That's relevant.
But I think the Sixers are being talked about more often than not for all the wrong reasons, not the right reasons.
Where they were when Joel Embiid was drafted to where they are now, he has made that franchise relevant.
Because they tore the franchise down to an embarrassing standard of putrid.
The Phillies missed the playoffs for a decade straight.
They did. And then Bryce Harper came here, and Bryce Harper brought them to a level of where every single year they're being talked about amongst the best teams in baseball, and he's a major part of it. And look, I've been critical of Harper about a lot of things too, but I can absolutely say, look, he delivered to this team. Actually, is in the mix. You can't say in the NBA, well, we won first round playoff series. You're not a contender by doing that. You're not a contender winning first round playoff series. That doesn't make you an NBA contender.
No, not contender
for anything.
No, not contender.
So if you're not a contender,
relevant.
But if relevant can be for, again, the Sixers have been relevant in this town more often than not for the wrong reasons, for bad storylines, for the general manager and his wife and, being blamed for his fake burner account, for the player feuding with the medical staff, that's for the James Harden debacle, for this city, the Ben Simmons thing. This team is relevant because of the fact that it's been days of our lives.
Now, I could make the argument that the reason that those storylines were big was because they were more in the mix at that point.
Yeah, but they're not in the mix for a championship, and that's what matters.
They did have a stretch where they were. They
had one year where they were a number 1 seed, and they were flimsy as hell, and they showed it when they got pressured by a bad Hawks team. Come on, a bad Hawks team. And by the way, Joel Embiid, I think, turned the ball over 16 times.
I'm not putting
in Game 6 and Game 7.
I know that, but the takeaways for me are either Doc Rivers or Ben Simmons won there, and that's something that.
How about did Doc Rivers and Ben Simmons make him turn the ball over 16 times in Game 6 and Game 7?
Ben might have. I don't know. I got to go back and look at the tape.
I mean, seriously, the fact that so much of Joel Embiid's career has been a self-inflicted wound too. His conditioning, his things like that. That has been a problem.
But the talent's still there, man. I don't know.
The talent's there. It's great. I mean, the talent's great. It's an undeveloped asset.
maybe I'm off on this one. Let's see what the people have to say. We have David checking in Drexel Hill on the phone lines. David, you're live here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
What's up, Dave?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
What's up, buddy?
Doing great, Dave.
Hey, listen, I'm a little more on Harper's side because Embiid, even though he's as good as he is, like last night's game, it throws the rest of the team off when you come in and you got to score your 30 points, your 35 points. And the flow of the team, they play much better when Embiid's not out there passing the ball. They're just not a better team without him. But they pass the ball a lot more, and it killed Maxi's game. And it took Embiid, up until last season to know as big as you are and as strong, go down low and grab some more rebounds. Go down low
Dave,
more.
you're not saying they're a better team without him. You're just saying you like the style they play.
No, I said they play better without him. They pass the ball more to everybody. You had one time, the whole starting lineup almost had 15, 20 points apiece.
Now, what is it with Harper?
Last night's game.
What is it with Harper, Dave,
defers.
that makes you feel better about him than Embiid?
I just like Harper, and I think you have to judge him on what's the fan support. When me and you are stuck on an argument about who's the best, then you go, well, what do the fans say to separate the two of us? And it's Harper.
Yeah, I think the fans
All
are
right,
good.
fair
I think the fans are going to come down heavily towards Harper.
Appreciate the call
Now, I
from
might be
Dave.
wrong on this, and I haven't checked the poll. I just believe that Bryce Harper has given us moments when it matters.
Yeah, that
Joel Embiid has never given us a moment when it matters. The game three in Toronto, the inbound turnaround.
Yeah,
that was a great play, by the way. Great play. A first round game threes they're throwaways for the great players of NBA history.
Yeah,
they're
for
throwaways.
sure.
They're not memorable. But here, it's his signature playoff moment.
Now, here's what I'll say. That argument from David there, and we appreciate him checking in. Our last caller, David in Drexel Hill. The argument for Bryce Harper sounded very much to me like he's not Joel Embiid, comparing those two, because he had all of this on Joe, and they was just like, well, we'll let the fans decide on Harper. So there is an element of you like who you like to this, and it's why it was such an intriguing conversation to me when I thought about these two guys together. I think they're more similar than a lot of people give them credit for. Maybe I'm the only one who sees it this way, or I'm in the vast minority. We'll continue to break that down.
Would Bryce Harper ever sit out game he's healthy?
No.
By his choice?
No, but that's
allowed.
baseball versus basketball. That's not just a Joel Embiid thing. There are plenty of players around the NBA that sit out
but they
games
sit
that are healthy.
a lot of games? No.
I
some
mean, load
games,
management's a
some
basketball
games,
thing.
some games, yes. You're right. There are a lot of players that will take some nights off. A lot of games off when they're healthy to play. Joel Embiid's taken a lot of nights off when he's been healthy enough to play.
Yeah, it's just it's not a fair comparison between the two sports. The injury stuff, and there is an element of that to Joe, but just like you can't do the Harper wouldn't sit if he was healthy.
I disagree with you on between the two sports, though, because it is between the two sports. I think that it's relevant because of the fact that how many other players in the NBA are doing what he does.
I mean, there's a lot of
to that degree.
Not to that degree, but you're
But that's the point. Is to that degree, no.
It's not fair to be part of the conversation with Harper wouldn't sit if he was 100%. That's an NBA thing. That's separate from comparing Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper to me. Now, if you want to do the way Joel Embiid takes care of himself.
Well, that's been a problem. That's been a problem his entire career.
That is very valid to be part of this conversation. So we'll continue this.
Okay, good.
You can, again, chime in on the phone line, text line, voice memo, 610-632-0975. The Davis Honda text line's always hot, so you can check that out and join in on the conversation. I want to bring this up on Jalen Hurts to take a little bit of a break from pitting Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper against each other.
That's an interesting, though. It's obviously got people's interest. So.
Yeah, and let me be very clear as well when we do the poll, when we check back in on this. I don't think saying, hey, Joel Embiid's resume is better, or Bryce Harper's resume is better, or comparing these two guys is a slight from one to the other.
No, they're both, in their own way, very, very good, talented players. Yeah. I just think that you can't, I think Harper will be much more beloved in this town long term.
And we're talking about the pinnacle of athletes in this town and in their sport.
If you're talking about the hierarchy of beloved when their career's over, Bryce Harper is going to be more beloved. I don't think it's going to be, and I don't think it's going to be close.
Hey, he'll need a ring.
What do you say,
just real quick on that in regards to like the love after like Harper's done playing.
Sure.
Like we've already heard the whispers like from Joel, like potentially like once he retires, like he's not even going to be like on the map. Where I could see Bryce Harper still being within this area, going to Phillies games and getting all the love as an alumni.
Some sort of presence. Yeah, some sort of a presence. Joel Embiid, this is. I don't feel the connection.
But I don't care about ambassador for the team after you're done playing. Like, to me, that does nothing for me. I'm sorry. Unless you win a ring, and then it reminds me of the good times. And neither of these guys have the championship to their name, which is why it's another interesting part of the conversation. Now, this Jalen Hurts thing I want to get into.
Sure.
We've had the conversation many times about the contract extension. John, you're ready to give it to him now?
Yeah, I do not want to play Russian roulette with Jalen Hurts because I do not want to go into the quarterback claw machine. And take my chances that I'm going to find another quarterback that is going to be as big of a winner as Jalen Hurts.
I'm not there yet because of the offensive system change and what Sean Mannion's going to bring, and the idea that with a new contract means a higher cap hit, which means harder to build a team around him, and there will be a point in Jalen Hurts' career where he has to do more with less. If a certain star wide receiver gets traded this offseason, we may see that as soon as this next season. So I want to see just a little bit more. But if you heard Jeffrey Lurie's comments at the owners' meetings out in Arizona, the whole I love Jalen Hurts, he was effusive in his praise for Jalen Hurts. And Jeff McClain of the Inquirer, you should go and check out his article. Jeff does incredible work covering the Eagles. Wrote an interesting article about the relationship between Jeffrey Lurie and Jalen Hurts, and how Lurie at times is Hurts' biggest defender in that organization. Here's where it gets interesting. Howie Roseman runs football operations for the Philadelphia Eagles. He is running the ship. It is Howie's team. And Jeffrey Lurie, a lot of credit to him as an owner is to the fact that he stays out of it. He'll help with the hiring, and he's done a solid job of that overall in his time as Eagles owner. But when it comes to the football operations, the contracts, anything, he's no Jerry Jones, far from it.
Right.
And we love that about him, right?
No, I love that about him.
So let's think about this. Howie Roseman walks in and sits down in Jeffrey Lurie's office. And they go, okay, hey, we've got our biggest asset, our franchise quarterback, Super Bowl MVP. Could be a good time to give him a contract extension. And Howie goes, I don't want to. If Jeffrey Lurie is the biggest defender of Jalen Hurts, does he advocate for keeping that guy here, or does he yield to Howie?
I think Jeffrey Lurie yields to Howie.
I believe so, too.
I don't believe that Howie Roseman I don't believe that Howie Roseman would be here because as Howie Roseman would have a job. If the Philadelphia Eagles ever told Howie Roseman, pack your bags, he would have a job within 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean.
Some other team would immediately hire Howie Roseman. He would be out of work for 24 hours. I don't believe he would stay here and run this franchise if Jeffrey Lurie was saying, oh, no, Howie, I don't care what you want to do. I want Jalen to have a contract extension. You're doing it now. So I believe Howie has that decision-making power. And if he's not getting a contract extension, Connor, that's on Howie.
It is.
Now, the thing is, though, when your boss wants something and you don't want to do it, that can be a tenuous situation.
It can be.
It can be a tenuous situation. But when you work together so long, your boss also gives you, says, I trust you, occasionally. I know that the boss is, we have our own boss. And occasionally, Scott has given you one of these where, okay, I trust you. Try it. Try it your way. You get that from the boss.
Yeah.
And you always like it when the boss says that to you.
It better work out.
But you always know that the boss is going to be listening. The boss is going to watch.
Yeah.
And then the boss is going to say, see, it didn't go the way you thought it went or whatever. But not to say na, but like to say, okay, but we're going to do it your way. A good boss does that, and I believe Jeffrey Lurie is that good boss.
Yeah, Howie Roseman has a long leash with Jeffrey Lurie. I believe that. And that comes from years of building that up, coming out of the Chip Kelly era and doing what he's done. I mean, 2 Super Bowl wins, 3 appearances. That's
amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Here's why it's a question, because you answer pretty easily. Howie Roseman makes that call. I answer pretty easily. Howie Roseman makes that call. Austin, Howie Roseman makes that call on Jalen Hurts' contract extension?
Yeah, Howie's making the call.
Okay, we are all in. We're lockstep on that.
I think if that was our Dr. Avi Donapel Twitter poll today, that might be 100-0. That Howie Roseman makes that call.
And Howie's the one that gets to make that call. And that's the way it should be, right?
Here in Philadelphia. But look around the league. And the thing you got to think about when we have these conversations is just like, yeah, that's how things work here. How many teams around football, and we don't have to run through them, but there are ones that exist, multiple that exist, where the owner would have a lot more to say about that decision than Jeffrey Lurie does here in Philly.
Well, Jerry Jones is the GM. Mm-hmm. Well, Stephen Jones is actually the GM.
But Jerry's making that decision.
You know he is. Look, at the end, if people don't realize this in Dallas, and it really is a thing, and it's hard to believe because you may not understand how it works. In Dallas, they go down after the games, and the Cowboys play the game. The press corps goes down to the Cowboys locker room. Jerry Jones talks to the press corps before the game, before whoever their head coach is. So all the years of he stands out there and he talks to them before the coach has their post-game press conference.
Now he's the biggest example and the one that we know the best.
And by the way, he's the complete outlier.
Yes, but let's look.
He's the outlier.
Let's look at just Cincinnati for an example. Mike Brown, who runs that team. You think if Joe Burrow's up for a contract extension, he's not having a heavy hand in whether or not that gets done? They are very tight with their money up there in Cincinnati.
Oh my gosh, yes. I don't believe that he lets I don't think he lets them spend a thing without him somehow having some say on going, whoa, what are you spending? What are you promising? Oh, no. He's somebody that is definitely going to be having a heavy hand in that.
And for sake of brevity, we'll just tell you there are multiple other NFL teams where owners would have a heavy hand in the decision of whether or not to pay their franchise quarterback or to extend their franchise quarterback. So my guess would be that if Jalen Hurts does not get the extension this offseason, and we've been told by Derek Gunn and other folks connected with the Eagles, don't expect that to happen with Jalen Hurts this offseason. That shows Howie Roseman is the one calling the shots, which we all expect, which we've known for years. But I think it's another good indicator of why the Eagles work so well.
I think it is too.
They have a defined hierarchy of who's doing what.
But that tells you that Howie's in charge.
Yes.
But does it also tell you that how much clout Jalen has?
That's the tough part of this. Is just like, how much does Jalen's relationship with the owner mean that he's going to be here? Versus, we're not just talking contract extension. There are some folks who have thought about them drafting a quarterback second day this year.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with them drafting a quarterback, but I want Jalen here. I absolutely want him here.
I don't want him going anywhere either. I'm just not ready to sign on the dotted line for another extension for Jalen Hurts at this moment in time.
You're going to pay a lot more than I'm going to pay then.
But that owner-GM relationship seems like they might be on opposite sides of the table with this one. It will be intriguing to see who wins. Who wins is the major question we're asking about Flyers-Devils tonight. And John has something else he wants to get into with the Flyers as well. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. But how are we being viewed in this equation? And you as new fans, if you're new fans out there, and how are the old guard of the Flyers fans handling this newfound focus on their team? We'll talk about it next. We'll also hear on the text line about the Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper conversation that we've been having. Oh, and don't forget, Amy Fadul joins us for 2 hours starting at 8 o'clock. A busy day here on Kincade Salciunas. We're back after this.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Harper pushes the Phillies. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. I hope you stayed up last night to watch the Phillies come back against the San Francisco Giants. They were down in the 7th inning, but Bryce Harper was the showsman. He was 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs, and Harper spoke post-game last night about the fight that's within this Phillies team.
It's just a lot of fight in this club. We're a really good team, and just got to, go out there and do those things and play a game well, play it right, have good at-bats, good pitching, all that kind of stuff. So when all of it gets put together, it's pretty good.
The 76ers were in San Antonio, and they fell last night to the Spurs. Even with Joel Embiid dropping 34 points and Victor Wembanyama leaving the game early with a left rib contusion, the Sixers are going to be off for the next couple of days. They'll be back on Thursday night with 3 games left in the regular season, where they're going to be tipping off against the Houston Rockets right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. It's a big night for the Flyers as they're in Jersey to take on the Devils. The Fly Guys have won both meetings so far this season, and the third and final matchup is tonight at 7 p.m. up at the Prudential Center. You can listen right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. March Madness has come and gone, but Michigan is the top dog in men's basketball. They captured their first basketball championship since 1989. Amy Fadul joins us from 8 to 10, and NBC Sports analyst Jim Lynam joins us at 9:05. This update's also brought to you by Corner and Cross. Upgrade your garage in one day with Corner and Cross. Take 50% off installation now. Call 1-800-NEW-FLOOR or go to cornercross.com. I'm Austin Jonesy, home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
The BetParks online casino and sportsbook app. Live bet sports on the BetParks app. Play all your favorite casino games. There's always another way to win on the BetParks online casino and sportsbook. Got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What a week we've got here in Philadelphia sports with the Flyers, a big game tonight against the New Jersey Devils. The Sixers trying to find their way out of the play-in tournament. And the Phillies, a nice comeback last night. If you didn't stay up to watch it, 6-4 the final against the Giants.
Would you stop saying it? I tried.
Well, I think
I saw Bryce Harper drilled one off the right field wall.
Yeah.
They were down 4-2, and then it was just nodded off. Maybe the Sixers' lack of energy nodded me off a little bit.
Bryce Harper hit that ball so hard that Tom McCarthy on the TV broadcast came up with a new term.
What was that?
He called it a smoke shot.
A smoke shot.
I don't know that I've ever heard that one
I heard
before.
a smoke show.
Yeah.
Not smoke shot.
I've heard it like he smoked that ball. I've never heard smoke shot, but I guess, listen, when you got 162 games a year you got to come up with some new terms to keep things fresh.
Tom's got NFL. He's got NCAA hoops. He's got the Phillies. I mean, look, the man's everywhere.
Yes, he is. And great call last night of the comeback.
Great job.
Something we're going to talk about later because we have Amy Fadul in with us from 8 till the end of the show. We're also going to have the coach, Jimmy Lynam, is going to call in at 9:05, and we're going to have a chance to talk with him about what the Sixers need to get done. It's going to be interesting to ask him. One of the first questions I'm going to have for him is these fourth quarter stretches of the inability to find a bucket. Do you put that more on coaching or the players? And that's something that's been a question about the third quarter for the Sixers for a while this season.
Which seems to have been slightly corrected.
Yeah, they've been better at it.
Yeah, slightly corrected.
But for as long as it went, it was just kind of those weird quirks of the season. And, hey, when you have the expert on, you ask the expert.
I think I always put it on more as I always go first to the players.
Yeah.
Self-responsibility.
I understand that. There may be certain things that, in this instance, though, that he's seeing that the layman's eye does not see.
Coach can look at a basketball court and understand it 1,000 times better. Look forward to that.
So what we've been getting into, though, overall today is a conversation about Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper. So Joel Embiid goes for 34 and 12 last night in the loss in San Antonio. He was pretty darn good, even though it resulted in not what the team was looking for. Bryce Harper, best player on the field last night for either the Phillies or the Giants. A 3-hit night, 2 doubles, RBIs all over the place. A big reason why the Phillies were able to win that baseball game. And to me, when I think about those two players, Embiid, Harper, where they're at right now, whether it's resume, whether it's court of public opinion.
Okay.
I view them as very close to one in the same. The way that they're reacted to right now, they create a lot of noise. Not themselves individually, sometimes yes, but
yeah, they both did. They both do. I think create noise themselves.
But when their name is brought up, they're two of the most polarizing, I want to say, right now in the city. Jalen Hurts is probably
I'd say so, yeah.
And I wonder how many people look at their time here in Philadelphia and say those guys are more alike than they are different. We've been asking that question. We have the Davis Honda text line buzzing, so let's check in on that before we get to what John has on the Flyers conversation as they become even more of a focal point in this city. What do we have, Austin, on the Davis Honda text line?
Yeah, so this is from our guy John C. in Tennessee. He said, although Harper never won a ring yet, he sets the standards as a Philly player like Jason Kelsey. He embraced Philly, and Philly embraced him back. Although there's currently some rockiness in the relationship, everybody wants him to succeed because then the team does. Embiid is here for a paycheck, and although he does although he is gifted and talented, his effort lacks and he whines. He takes game off, and he does not like to be bought in to the city like Harper.
Embiid is here for a paycheck and not bought into the city. Do you feel that way? Because I think
that's a bridge way too far.
Yeah,
but I absolutely believe that Bryce Harper is much more embedded. No question, much more embedded.
But you are someone who does mock him a little bit for the pandering.
Oh, he absolutely does.
But is that the difference maker?
The Go Flyers.
Yeah, let's hear that again.
I'll put $100 down.
After the game, he had a chance to talk with Tom McCarthy and Ruben Amaro Jr. on NBC Sports Philadelphia. And Bryce Harper not only talked about the locker room a little bit, and we heard Bryce Harper make a joke for the first time since, 2007. And also, we got a little classic pandering. Take a listen.
I think it's a credit to what you guys have built in that clubhouse that you have nights like this, because it seems so quiet, and then you just exploded, and you just stayed in it the entire time.
Yeah, we actually hate each other. You know, we have a blast. I mean, it's. I mean, obviously we want to win and do the things the right way, but win or lose, we're always pretty similar and the same in what we kind of act like and what we do. So. Really good group of guys that we have, and from top to bottom, it's great clubhouse.
Well, nice job, buddy. That was a great night for you, great night for the team. Go enjoy it.
Appreciate you guys. Go Flyers.
So fun to hear him sound like he's having fun. That
was nice to see, because we've been asking for it.
We have.
So to me, when Bryce gives you what you ask for, take it.
And he could have easily, to everyone who's like, because I brought it up earlier, when I think we're going to see more of this when they're winning. That feels like the natural logic to me.
Sure.
For anyone who's like, yeah, but I'd like to see it more. I think there is a world where this current version of Bryce Harper, I would not have been shocked if he had done that post-game interview. It had just been like, yeah, trying to do what I can to help the team. Yeah, it's a win.
I wouldn't have been shocked. He was, but to me, look, when Bryce gives you the energy you want, gives you the positivity you want, don't then criticize that when you've been asking for that.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, it's the guy you wanted. So.
And then at the end, he does the Go Flyers thing.
Okay, that's fine.
But we just had a texter.
That's fine.
We just had a texter who brought up the difference between Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper, and saying Bryce Harper is more kind of, to paraphrase.
Well, I mean, he knows how
he
knows how that plays. Good, it's good.
Maybe
everybody's
Joel doesn't like hockey.
I use the Malvern Wawa test or the skate park Wawa test, because I have the skate park Wawa. A lot of Flyer stuff. I'm seeing Flyer stuff left and right.
I was out yesterday in my Flyers jersey walking the dogs. Got a couple Go Flyers out and about.
See that?
Yeah. I love that.
You can't miss me. It was bright orange jersey. You got to give me some type of props.
That's true.
I like that.
But I wonder, for everyone who's like, the pandering is very interesting, because for some people, they look at it and they roll their eyes.
I don't. If he had come out in gritty batting gloves, that's pandering. I consider the Go Flyers just a little smooch.
Well, I'm
a very forced smooch, but a smooch.
I'm using it more as the example of how Bryce Harper interacts with his fan base versus how Joel Embiid
but the thing is, though, look, I was just glad to see Bryce not looking like he's heading into a colonoscopy. He looked like he was having some fun. So good for him. And by the way, great night. Great night. So multiple extra base hits, I'll take it.
Is part of this conversation between Harper and Embiid how they embrace the city back? That's something that you could join in on as well. 610-632-0975. Now, Johnny, speaking of embracing, you have something on how the greater Flyers fandom, media, this ecosystem that is in a place we haven't seen it for a while, with the Flyers and all the eyes that are on this team now and the bandwagon stuff, how it's affecting the noise around not really the team, or the story of the Flyers.
Look, it happens. The soccer fans are usually the most insufferable with this. The gatekeeping of the, oh my gosh, now they're talking about it and they're terrible. Look, I saw lots of social media posts yesterday. Even Sean and John did an interview yesterday with a very talented, by the way, Flyers, blog site. That, by the way, I've followed for a long time, that I think does really good quality work. And it's these, sports radio now acting like they've cared about hockey for a long time. Yeah, now sports radio jumping on the bandwagon. And I'm like, you know what? Shut up. Just shut up. The complaint is that now they're getting talked about and they're complaining. And they're complaining about being talked about. Or then you got people, and I had to go back on a few of them going, you guys have not talked about the Flyers since game 1 this year. False. Completely false. Especially since January. We've talked about them often with numerous Flyers guests every week. Flyer segments every day. So if you don't listen and you don't pay attention, I can't help you. But don't come at us or at the station or at me with, you guys don't talk Flyers. You're full of crap. You don't know what you're talking about, and I'll call you on it. Then it's, well, you don't even know what you're talking about with hockey. Then that just really gets my goat. And I'm like, okay, I'll talk hockey with you anytime you want. And I got a feeling I'm going to be a little, might just be a little better at it, even though I love talking with Mert the best. Mert is just amazing with it. Jason Martinez. He's fantastic. This isn't a hockey measuring contest. Because I'll tell you this, when I would talk hoops with Bob Cooney, I would feel like I was learning something every time. You know what I mean? There's sports that people know about. There's sports I don't expect to know as much about the Sixers or whatever. When I talk with basketball with Amy Fadul, I can realize, okay, Amy's talking here, I'm talking here.
We get to do that coming up at 8.
I understand.
For the rest of the show.
But the thing is, I understand that, and I'm a host. And I understand that there are listeners to this radio station that when they talk football with me, when they just talk X's and O's football, they're talking here, and I'm talking here because I respect our audience. But to me, I don't understand if you're talking about, like, they're demanding that they think for years we should have been talking about the Flyers as if we were talking about the Eagles and the Phillies, while the Flyers have been in absolute non-factor for 6 years. I don't get it. I don't understand it. We're not the Peace Corps. We're not a charity. The team's got to make themselves relevant. And when they do, we talk about them all the time.
It's the nature of the job. I've already accepted that people won't understand that, and that's okay. We're going to continue to talk about them as they're on this playoff push,
Absolutely.
and we're going to give you great Flyers content as the flagship station of the Philadelphia Flyers. And we got a big game tonight against the Devils. What I would say, if you're like my pal Johnny here to my left, where this is clearly bothering you, and I understand why it does. Like, you're in the right to fight your fight. Don't let it affect how you're watching this hockey
it doesn't
team,
affect how I watch it.
Anyone who's like a new fan that might be getting crap for like, oh, Johnny come lately. No, just enjoy the sport because they're a really fun team to watch.
But if
right
you're
now.
a media member doing that to people, or you're a media adjacent, you have a blog site, whatever, don't be a jerk. Instead, build a bigger tent. Use this opportunity to welcome people in. You might get more people to enjoy your content. You might get more people to actually enjoy the sport. Don't be a jerk about it.
That would be the idea. I agree with you there, Johnny. Now, something that we always welcome people into. We're always trying to grow the tent for today's headlines.
There we go.
Today, Austin Jones has it. So coming up next, we will get a check-in on the poll question of the day with Bryce Harper and Joel Embiid, and then we will have today's headlines with Austin Jones. This is Kincade Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Guys, when something feels off, don't let it brush aside. Don't do it. If you have unusual symptoms, if you're not feeling right, go to the doctor. And if a cancer diagnosis comes into your life, your father's life, your brother's life, your sister's life, your family's life, go see Dr. Sprandio. There's a junior and there's a senior. Dr. Junior saved my life at the Consultants in Medical Oncology and Hematology. Just remember CMOH. They're going to offer you quick consults, clear communication, and an individualized plan so you know exactly what to expect. When I tell you about this practice, I knew nothing about them. My surgeon, Dr. Henry Schoon-Young, referred me to CMOH. I met Dr. John Sprandio Jr., and I met him quickly because I got in quickly at CMOH. When I met him, I also had talked to a couple other doctors, and CMOH was the ones that we went with. I turned my life over to him. They saved my life. They came up with a plan. They led me through the plan, and he's got such an amazing team from the nurses, the doctors, the office staff. They're all incredible. If cancer enters your family's life, you don't have to feel like you're taking the battle on alone. Visit CMOH.org. They've got 3 offices in the area, all conveniently located with great, great teams. I love these folks. There's no better recommendation I can give you. The Consultants in Medical Oncology and Hematology. Tell them John Kincade sent you.
I really do. And I've seen some people saying it on the YouTube, putting up athletes, like one athlete against the other. Like that's baseline level sports talk. I get it. But on a night where Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper both played very well, one resulting in a win for the Phillies and one resulting in a loss for the Sixers, but I don't necessarily put that on the big man, at least in that one instance against the Spurs. I was thinking about comparing the two of them and how they feel so similar to me in the way that they're viewed in this city
How
right
do they
now.
feel, Connor?
They just, it looks like when I see Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper and how they're reacted to, only the crazy, like fringe people are like, hey, this guy's not good at X sport.
Correct.
But every single conversation with them is couched with either, where are they at this point in their career? Oh, they haven't won. Is it more them or what they've been given? Like all of these narratives the big talking points around Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper, it feels like there's a Venn diagram here. And it feels like that middle portion that indicates the crossover has gotten bigger and bigger as we've gone along. But we have a Twitter poll up. Is it still up, Austin, the Twitter poll?
Come on, man. What kind of question is that?
Of course it's still up.
Dr. Avidan Appel's going to make sure it's up.
Yes, it is. Thanks to Dr. Avidan Appel of Iron Mountain Men's Health. What is our Twitter poll today, and what are our results so far?
Yeah, so who has the best individual resume in their time in Philadelphia? Bryce Harper or Joel Embiid? Leading the charge strong. Bryce Harper at 69%. Joel Embiid, 31%.
So Harper, the heavy majority right now. And, John, that's where your vote would have gone, would be to Bryce Harper.
I don't even think this would be, like, I didn't think it was going to be close.
Okay.
Because I just don't think that when you miss as many games as you play, I don't think you can be put on a pedestal with Bryce Harper, considering a lot of the times when you miss, it's you. It's your lack of conditioning. It's your lack of professionalism. It's your lack of wanting to play in back-to-backs. It's you saying, I will determine when I play. I'm going to call the shots from now on. So to me, it's a completely different mindset. This city, in another city, it would be different received, I believe. I think that Joel's maybe his work ethic would have been received differently. In this city, I think it's counter to the work ethic of this city.
Maybe. The poll is opposite of what I would have voted, but hey, that's why we have them. So thank you again to Dr. Avidan Appel. And now it is time for today's headlines with Austin Jones.
Today's headlines with Austin Jones.
All righty, and today's headlines are brought to you by Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name, Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. Alrighty, guys. So you remember when the season started last year for the Phillies down in Washington, and they were having some issues with the shadows?
Yeah.
Well, I came across a cool clip of Texas Rangers Jake Berger potentially trying out some contact lenses that could help him with the shadows.
Wait a minute. Does he not have them in right now? Laura took a picture earlier today. Those are those amber-colored contacts.
They're scary looking to me. So Berger is not wearing the contacts right now. He does plan to use them, however, in Seattle and in Houston in ballparks where he thinks the lighting is a little bit darker to help with the brightening effect is what he called it.
I know somebody who wears these.
Yeah, and do they work?
They say they work. They say they work.
Here's what I'll just say, right? Anything you can use that's within the laws of the game that can help you see better, use it. That can help you. And
there's someone who wears them in golf.
Sure,
golfing
perfect.
That doesn't want to wear glasses, wears glasses and doesn't want to wear them in golf, but wears them to play golf in the sun.
It's the Rick Vaughn thing, right? Like, he doesn't have his glasses. He can't see the damn strike zone. Like, seeing better, great. Here's what I'll tell you. If I'm stepping on the mound and a guy gets into the box and he's got, like, bright red eyes staring at me right there, I'm not throwing that dude a strike.
I'm happy
That's
you said
gotta be terrifying.
Because in the NFL some years ago, Mario Williams was doing that.
Yeah, he was doing it.
On the Bills. He had red contact lenses that made his pupils red, and the NFL told him he had to stop.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't understand why you would have to.
Oh, the NFL controls everything that
I don't
everybody
understand
puts
why.
on and
What
wears.
would that have to do with it that the NFL would get involved?
I wish I could.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but hey, it's something to keep an eye on to see if it becomes a big thing in baseball. Now, remember last year we had the torpedo bats in New York, and that was a big thing for like 2 weeks, and then it totally fell off. So we'll see.
All right, continuing on, we're going to go back to the 80s for the next two.
I remember the 80s.
All right, perfect. So, John, you remember this. 88?
Oh, I
Texas
remember
Rangers against the Cleveland franchise. Outfielder Jose Canseco had a ball bounce off his top of his head.
Yes.
Well, we had something about that 40 years later, but this time in high school.
0-1 pitch. Hit in the air to right center field. It's going to hang up, and it is off the head of the center fielder. That's going to be a ground rule double. No, it's a home run. It's a home run for Tene Vijas. Oh, my. It hit the head of the center fielder and bounced so far, it went over the wall in right center field. And the umpire, I thought he was going to call it a ground rule double. He indicates home run. Wow. What a change of events. Let's take another look at this. Center fielder coming over. He was calling out the right fielder, had his hand up trying to find the ball in the sun. Oh, it went right off his forehead. Oh, my. Jake Shields is going to feel that one for a long time.
Now, Jake Shields is going to hear that at the bar until he's 70.
Now, if you haven't seen the video, the Canseco one, it's like off the top of his head and it's very close to the wall. This one bounced a good, 20 feet?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's that far?
I'll send it to you during the commercial break, John.
Okay.
Like you remember cartoons, Looney Tunes, when they would get hit on the head and they have a big bump?
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of the impact it made.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, dude, that's not fun.
Yeah, but the bad thing is every golf round the rest of his life, every time he's out at the bar with his buddies, he's going to hear about that for the rest of his life.
At least he didn't do it in Major League Baseball, because I imagine Jose Canseco
Did it make
just
top
hears
10
it a little
Sports
bit
Center?
more.
Oh, it made its way
I
around.
guarantee you. I mean, he's going to be all over the place.
What else we got?
For the last one for you, last night, the men's championship in college basketball, Michigan won for the first time since 1989. So I'd always like to see what was happening back in the world, what were the prices, what were movies and everything like that when a team last won. I could care less when the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. I want to see when a team has a longer drought. So, John, you're an 80s guy here.
Yeah.
I'll have a little trivia for you.
Okay.
What was the average price of gas back in 1989?
1989, regular gas, 69 cents.
We're going to go 106.
Wow.
Oof,
Okay.
Trade that for $4.19
It wasn't a good year.
right now.
Jumping over to sports, ticketing wise, how much was the ticket for the Eagles versus Giants? October 8th, 1989. The Eagles won 21-19. Anthony Toney scored the go-ahead touchdown, and then William Frizzell intercepted Phil Simms. This is section
Frizzell. Okay, 300 level.
373, row 5, seat 21.
$36.
$30.
Yeah,
Hey, good call by you.
Yeah, I sat in 511, I think.
Can't even sniff that in today's world.
Okay.
And then going over the last thing we have back in 1989, the top global grossing film was what, John? Global. So think across the globe.
89.
Two big star actors.
Was it a? Judge Wapner? Was it the? Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman? No, Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman.
Rain Man?
Rain Man.
Batman, Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. $411 million back in 1989.
Wow, that's good. And
it's been a long time, hasn't
Michael
it?
Keaton is Batman.
Well, congratulations to Michigan. We are going to talk a little bit of national championship later on in the 8 o'clock hour because we have Amy Fadul, great college basketball mind.
She was Catwoman once on probably for Halloween one year.
She joins us coming up next, and right at the top of the 8 o'clock hour, your chance to win $1,000. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We're back after this here on Kincade Salciunas.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
My name's Austin Jones, and I'm with you with this Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies beat the Giants last night after coming back, and they won by a score of 6-4. Bryce Harper was the man, going 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Harper spoke postgame about the fight within the Phillies.
It's just a lot of fight in this club. You know, we're a really good team, and just got to, go out there and do those things and play the game well, play it right, have good at-bats, good pitching, all that kind of stuff. So when all of it gets put together, it's pretty good.
The 76ers were in San Antonio, and they fell to the Spurs last night with Joel Embiid scoring 34 points and Victor Wembanyama leaving the game with a left rib contusion. The Sixers are still in the 7th seed with 3 games left in the season. They'll be back on the court Thursday against the Houston Rockets, and it's a big night for the Flyers, not the Devils, as the Flyers are up in New Jersey to face the Devils with playoff seeding on the line. The Flyers have won both meetings so far. Puck drop will be for 7 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. March Madness came and went last night, and Michigan took home the men's title as they won over UConn. And also, Amy Fadul is going to join us from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. for the rest of the show. Former Sixers head coach Jimmy Lynam will join us at 9:05. This update is also brought to you by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has led inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more at crohnscolitisfoundation.org. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
It's time for Fanatic Parlay Cash. Your chance to win $1,000. The contest keyword is play. Spelled P-L-A-Y. That's play. You have until 25 minutes after the hour to enter it on the Fanatic app or at 975thefanatic.com. Or you can text it to the special contest short code 45911. One random entry wins $1,000 in this company-wide contest. Winners will get a call from Beasley, so be sure to answer your phone. Contest rules at 975thefanatic.com. Fanatic Parlay Cash is stood up by Iron Mountain Men's Health. 5 chances to win each weekday, 8, 10 a.m., noon, 3, and 5 p.m. Good luck.
If you want to see their wonderful faces, check out youtube.com/975 The Fanatic Philadelphia. More of Kincade and Salciunas coming your way now.
Not just Kincade and Salciunas. Well, I guess we don't have Salciunas today, but yesterday we had Andrew DeCecco, and today Amy Fadul is now in studio with us.
Hello, everyone.
Hello,
She's never
Amy.
been Catwoman for
No,
Halloween.
not a lot of superhero Marvel character type of vibes for me growing up.
Yeah, me either. I never really got on the superhero vibe, but
As far as like a costume.
I always liked to, the star athlete in town was normally a good go-to for young
that's a
Connor
good one.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Because it was easy. I
It
had,
was like
I had a
always the
bunch of sports
standbys.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
would you tell, would your mom and dad buy you a costume?
I was the youngest of 5. Whatever.
Exactly.
Whatever someone
Yeah, I like
else
that.
was. You would just kind of have like this this costume pile of stuff. Like, let's just go make something out of that.
I imagine my parents
candy.
did.
Go make yourself a costume,
You
Amy.
figure it out.
There you
I
go.
don't know. My mom would be like, yeah, do you want to be a clown or a witch or whatever we had left? I don't care. To me, there was one goal on Halloween, and that was to cover as much ground and get as much candy
Absolutely.
as possible. I didn't care what I needed to look like. I think one year, there's like pictures of me, I might have remember those really like creepy masks that they would have kids wear? Like they were like plastic, hard to breathe out.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure it was either like strawberry shortcake or Holly Hobby, like that kind of vibe. I definitely see pictures of that. I don't remember it. I must have been very young, but those were like really creepy.
That is creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't breathe out of those
And you're
things.
sweating them.
The whole goal is celebrating, right? It's a holiday. It's fun to celebrate.
Holiday, very
Get the candy
holiday. Very
and
good
everything.
holiday.
Were you celebrating
That's-
last night?
Well, not for the Sixers, unfortunately.
Yeah, Amy.
No.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that was,
Not that I didn't watch.
I don't,
We saw you.
I think when we went in, if you're looking at those final 5 games, you thought if you need to win 3 of them, you're thinking probably the Pistons, and then the last 3 probably would have been your best bet. I don't know that you would have penciled in the Spurs game, given the
No.
fact that, I mean, it's either Victor Wembanyama is there or not. That's a complete team. As are the Pistons. I think you've learned that in the last 2 games. Anybody that was praying for the Pistons, I think you got a little bit of like, hey, maybe you want to rethink that one. Though I know Joel Embiid didn't play.
Connor owes me $4.50
Why do I owe you $4.50? I didn't
because
tell
I
you
owed.
to make the bet.
I had $4.57. I always like to round off bets sometimes on my Bet Parks app. So I bet the Sixers to win last night on the money line because Connor talked me into the Sixers winning last night. He made a compelling case that he thought they were going to win last night.
I thought it was going to be a good game. I knew it would go
and it
down.
was a good game for a lot of the game.
It was. Some errant turnovers at the end, not getting stops. That's a very good defense. Listen, I mean, you're going against the Pistons game. That's the first. They're the best team in the East. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And the way those two teams share the ball and swarming defenses, I mean, it was problematic for the Sixers at the end. It was disappointing to see some of the slow starts on one and then the slow finish for another. Is when you look at like Tyrese Maxey and Paul George. For me, that was Tyrese Maxey. We talked to him after the game. We had him on Postgame, and you could tell the level of frustration was very high. He had jammed his finger again in the Pistons game. You wondered. He was asked that. He didn't say that was one of the reasons, but you do have to think like this. The last time he had a scoreless first half was March of 2025. It just doesn't happen. You're looking at like
that does not happen.
3 or 4 times in his entire career where he's held scoreless.
Do you think he's running out of gas? Has played a lot of minutes this year.
I don't know that it's that. I think that's obviously something we talked about in January. Heck, we talked about it in October when the guy was averaging 41 minutes to start the season. But I don't know that it's that. I do think that when they get tight like that, the Sixers, when they know they have to you have to get a bucket, the ball gets a little bit stuck, right? It just doesn't move around as much. You look at the Pistons game, you look at the Spurs game. Those teams were, like 30 plus assists on 40 plus field goals. Sixers were like 17 on 24 at some points and 21 on 40. It's just the ball doesn't move around, and I think that doesn't really help itself as far as like Tyrese Maxey getting really involved. But no, I don't think he's hit a wall. I think the kid could play through, but yeah, it's definitely like something you pause at because it was such a big talking point for so many portions of the season. But I think maybe the finger might have bothered him.
Yeah, and to that, I mean, you saw
and the defense is very good. Stephon Castle is an All NBA defensive.
They got a great team. They got dudes on
in my
dudes down
opinion.
there.
Yeah.
But they closed out Minnesota really well
Yeah.
in the closing of that game. So there is still something there. Now, we haven't talked to you since Porter Martone's big day
That
on
was very
Sunday.
exciting. I was locked in.
Can I ask something with the Sixers though?
Oh, yeah,
I'm
go
gonna ask
ahead.
something
Yeah.
with the Sixers conversation. I feel like it looks like VJ Edgecombe has more in the tank in April than Maxey does. Is that a bad observation?
Yeah, I don't know that
because you
that's
watch
the
it
case.
so closely.
I don't know that that's the case. I think that Maxey's obviously asked to do a lot more. Here's a guy that came back early. Remember, he was supposed to be reevaluated on the 31st of March. Reevaluated. Not even playing on the 31st. He came back 3 days before that with no ramp up. I hate that word. Nothing leading up. He didn't even do 5-on-5. He literally was like, I'm ready to go. This kid's a gamer. I don't know that he has any less left in the tank, but I do want to touch on something you said. I think it's impressive that VJ Edgecombe has not really hit that rookie wall.
None at all.
And there's players that have hit that during the season. They've obviously bounced through it and come through it when you're looking at Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel. But those guys definitely had portions of the season in like late January, February, where they did kind of like have a couple of struggle games. The games where VJ Edgecombe has struggled have not been because of his energy level. I'll tell you that much. It's because the shot didn't go defensively. He was, maybe seeing something different when he was seeing some of the double teams with no Tyrese Maxey out there. But it's been very impressive the way that he's been able to just really sustain that level of athleticism and energy for a guy that's used to playing, 35, 40 games in his 1 year in college, and obviously much less before that. And then now to power through, and here we are, handful of games to go, and he's still there was a moment last night where he took contact from Luke Cornett right under the basket and was able to kind of change the decision making midair. It's wild to me the way that he's able to play.
So where are you at with this team? Right, and we'll get to the Flyers
Holding
in a
on
second.
with my fingernails.
It feels like they are too, doesn't it?
Yeah, they really are. When you're looking at the rest of the schedules, because it's a fight for the 6th seed, right? At this point, you're looking at the Hornets, you're looking at the Raptors, and then obviously an outside chance with the Heat. But the Hornets have what looks like on paper the hardest schedule, but everybody that they're playing could have their positioning locked up to finish the season. So you look at that game last night, the Pistons lose. The Pistons don't have anything else to play for. They clinch the 1 seed here. So it's like, I don't want to say they don't have anything to play for, but it's not like you don't need to try to go all out and play your starters 38 minutes to try to get that game to improve your positioning. The Knicks and the Celtics are probably going to be locked in after tonight. So when you're looking at the Hornets, that's a very dangerous team. If the Sixers don't get to 46 wins and put them away, because the Hornets can't get to 46 even if they win out. If the Sixers don't get to 46 and they stay at 45, that's now you're looking at, thank goodness you have the tiebreaker over the Hornets because you don't want them to pass you. And you have the tiebreaker over the Heat, I believe, as well. You do have it over the Raptors, pardon me. Don't have it over the Heat. But
yeah.
It's going to be one of those things that it's going to go down to the last game. And I just never thought that you have to win the Rockets game. You have to. They're all must wins. Playoffs started for the Sixers, I think, a week ago, but that's a must win for me. There's no way you can really secure that 6th seed if you don't get to 46 wins.
Well, it makes for great drama. It also makes for
honestly, and that's sorry to interrupt, but that's why when the NBA created the play-in tournament, we were all like, what is this nonsense? This is what they wanted.
This is what they wanted.
This is the idea of it. And it is very, very thrilling. It's even thrilling out there in the West, which is a little bit more decided, but there's still teams like the Warriors that are still jockeying for position. So this is exactly what they wanted. It makes it fun. I wish we were not in the fun. I wish we were securely out of the fun, but it certainly does make it very interesting.
Yeah, and it means you guys got plenty to talk about on Sixers pre and post game, and we have a little Sixers pre and post game reunion planned for a little under an hour, 9:05. Jim Lynam going to join us, so we're going to get some great basketball talk on that. And
thanks for booking.
Yeah.
I looked all the way next door to me, sitting down there, up there in the newsroom.
Saw them on TV
Coach.
next to each other, and I had sent Coach a text, and I was like, hey, you might be on
I was
real
like,
quick.
do you think you can ask him? I was
Thank
like, yeah.
you. We appreciate
He's
it.
like, oh, yeah, I'm good, Abe.
Very kind. She does it all here for us at 97.5 The Fanatic over in NBC Sports Philadelphia. Porter Martone.
Yeah, let's talk about him, because that was exciting.
Has been doing it all for the Flyers since he came up. Where are you at with them on their playoff push?
It's so funny because I have the luxury of being able to, like you guys do, just walk across, whatever part of my workplace and talk to somebody that is going to be a lot more well-versed in whatever subject I would like. And so I hit up Jordan Hall the other day, maybe like a week and a half ago. And I was like, what are we looking at here, Jordan? Like, am I locked in? Because I feel like I should be locked in. I want to be locked in. And that was when they kept winning like 3 in a row, but couldn't win that 4th one. And I was like, oh, it's going to be another overtime game. And he's like, yeah, but they at least they win this overtime game. So that's just very true. But I think that when he talked about it to me and just trying to explain the chances, and basically right now it's like a 50-50 shot. They have to win the majority of their games out to improve that. But right now, that's percentage-wise almost exactly what you're looking at. This kid, just the boost of energy, I love the timing of it because they had been a team that had been winning, but maybe not quite getting over the hump in certain scenarios. And he comes in and just gives them that immediate boost. And I think that there's something to be said for that. I think that, in a locker room, in a dressing room, in a clubhouse, wherever you are, there's always something like really positive about someone coming in. VJ Edgecombe to being, the Sixers example of that, of just like, it kind of makes everybody be like, oh, yeah, no, I want to like play just a little bit harder. I want to have a little bit more maybe on this shift. But the kid is as advertised, and to drop in like that after the season, and then it's like, oh, now I'm going to go do this at this level. I already did it down there. Now I'm going to be this here at this guy.
They go 3-2 in their last 5. I don't think they miss. I mean, that's a pretty good place to be sitting for this team. The Flyers win 3 out of their last 5.
Yeah.
They're going to finish with 96 points. They should hold off everybody behind them.
You should.
And that's exciting as hell. That really is. And a Flyers-Penguins series? Oh,
yeah.
man.
I wish it was somebody else.
Why?
The history there.
When you know they're not going to win the Cup.
Right.
And I'm not trying to down people.
It'll be fun. Oh, yeah. Well, let's be honest.
If we know they're not going to win the Cup, it's the first baptism of playoff hockey and everything. I think it's the absolute best thing that could happen to them.
Yeah.
To feel the energy, to feel the nastiness, to feel how important it is.
Feel the energy. It's certainly a very good rivalry to walk into for these kids that haven't experienced playoff hockey, right? They haven't experienced it at the NHL level, or if they have, maybe it was like a one-and-done type of vibe. I mean, you're going into a very hostile environment. These are two very well-known rivals. And it'll be, sure, for the Canadians, I think it's always great for them to play against Sidney Crosby. You always hear them talk about it even in the regular season. I just thought, I was like, wouldn't it be fun for them to, like, I don't know, get a win?
Like if they no.
Hey, you never know.
This.
You get a hot goalie, and Dan Vladar and Sam Ersson have both been playing really well down the stretch, which has been a big part of this. You never know what's going to happen. That's a fun thing because the Flyers feel fresh. They're in a new spot with a lot of this younger core, where the Sixers are the team that we've seen in the mix for years. It's an interesting dynamic. And John had a great question for Rick Tocchet when we had him on yesterday about how it feels to now be a hunted team. You're in a postseason position and where that dynamic goes. Here's what Rick Tocchet had to say when he joined us yesterday.
Yeah, stay even keel. Don't just when things aren't going great and things are going great, bad or good. Don't read social media. Stay humble. Stay even keel. That's the hardest thing to do. How to handle prosperity. Like I said, we haven't accomplished nothing yet. Other than we've accomplished is the belief in the room, the way we're playing. I credit the players, all that stuff, but we got to stay humble. We got to stay even keel. That's the only way you handle this sort of stuff. And I'll be honest with you, we got to play uncomfortable. You got to get out there and play uncomfortable. And what I mean by that is, it's hard to get the inside. It's hard to take a cross check in front of the net to score a goal. It's hard to take a short shift. I know some guys, I want one more try at it where, no, I better get off and get my other line out there. That's uncomfortable play, and that's what we're trying to preach here. And these young guys are buying in. So it's a big test again, like I said, and keep putting these heat on our players in the sense that we're playing pressure games. They're only going to get better. So that's the only thing that we're looking at, the daylight ahead of us.
Saying all the right things.
Yeah.
Right?
As you should. I mean, it's been I would think if you asked us around the Olympic break, like, how would you grade Rick Tocchet? It would have been an absolute, I don't know, right? I mean, because it was such an up and down mixed bag. There's some of the positives you see, and then you see some of the negatives. And do you equate like the regression a bit with Matvei Michkov? Do you equate that with the new regime, if you want to call it that, the new coaching style? And so is that a drawback, or is that just something, a learning experience for Michkov? Obviously still very, very young in his NHL career. So I think I would have given the incomplete. But now I just think this guy's done a really nice job with a team that is, let's face it, a little bit of a ragtag group. You have guys that were coming in and out. You had guys that were traded and you didn't know what you had in them. And I thought he's really kind of made everybody come together in a way that surprised me, certainly for the last month, I would say, month and a half. I just thought that he's certainly have said all the right things, pushed all the right buttons, and they've been winning in a way that I think is a little bit surprising. Just to finish the season, because it's one thing to start the season, you're thinking, oh, this might be fun. Like, look at this team. They're kind of making some noise, and then they fell off. You're like, well, that was fun while it lasted. But to kind of regroup, I think, is an impressive thing.
And Jason Martinez yesterday, when he was on with Middays with Marks, talking about at the Olympic break, they literally implemented a new defensive system. Mm-hmm. And for Rick Tocchet to allow that, and Jason did a great explanation of that, for Rick Tocchet to go away from a defensive system that he was comfortable with to implement a new one, that says a lot about his confidence in himself. Because I don't know if a first-time head coach Rick Tocchet or even a second-time head coach Rick Tocchet would have said, yeah, change up our defensive system. Because that's an admission that
it didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work. And I admire that.
Yeah, to change midstream anything, I think is it. And there's guys that have, kind of come in and out of certain lineups, and you're looking at like, well, why is he changing that? but it's all seemed to have worked. And that's a very interesting point about, I didn't hear that from Jason. I wish I had, because I would have been, he's always so good on just the really kind of ins and outs, stuff that you see, but you don't know why you're seeing it type of thing when Jason talks about things like that. So I'll have to tune in and find that on YouTube, because I would like to hear that from Jason.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride, and it's great to get into some hockey talk with the Flyers in the mix, the Sixers in the mix as well, so we're going to continue to talk about them. Now, we've gotten the appetizer out of the way. Let's get to the meat and potatoes, the entree of the show today. I'm sure you've heard our conversation.
Brown. I got it.
We have not talked to A.J. Brown.
I'm kidding.
We got till June 1st to talk about that.
He was mentioned once in passing, I think.
Hilarious.
So
Yeah, maybe once.
right now, we're in the quiet time for him.
We're in the quiet time.
Our big question today is comparing Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper, because Joe went for 34 and 12 last night. Harper had the game he had with the 3 hits, 2 doubles, a big night to carry the Phils to a win. When you look at those two guys and their time here in Philadelphia and where they're at right now, in I keep saying the court of public opinion, basically the fan base's perspective, do they feel similar to you?
It's interesting. I feel like when we talk about one, it doesn't always, like, they're married together in the fact that they're the two, more polarizing lead athletes of their teams. MVPs, 2 MVPs. I think that's always going to be something. Joel Embiid feels a little bit different because he's a homegrown guy, if you want to call him that. We watched him sit for 2 seasons. You watched him come to prominence, really work through a lot of stuff, develop, mature, and then turn into the player that he knows we knew that he could be and that he said he could be. And then with the injuries, it's been such a mixed bag at times. But gosh, when you see flashes, it's just like you forget all of it. It's like, you're late at night and you've been drinking. You're like, should I send a message? Yes, you want to, because it just
Joel Embiid, you up?
Right? What's going on? It's, how are you? It's good to see you on the Instagram. But for me, it's like they're polarizing for different reasons. You know what I mean? Like, Joel Embiid's polarizing for some people because of the injury history and the fact that, they haven't gotten where they need to go, which is past the second round. I mean, this is 2001 and this is 2026 now. So we all know this history there. Harper is the fact that they've gotten so close, and yet it's the same team, and it doesn't matter what else they do. So there's some similarities there, but I feel like there's more of a forgiveness with Bryce Harper, and I don't know if it's because it's the homegrownness.
Tell people, since you have that access, something that we don't know about Joel Embiid that you've experienced that maybe the public doesn't know.
I wish Andrew was here just for this, because he would be such a person with me, because he has the same kind of affinity for Joel Embiid. I've obviously known him his entire career here in Philadelphia. He is a really good teammate. Like, I think people think he's a bad teammate. And I've never understood that. You would see on the internet where he was injured, like he's not even on the bench. He is always on the bench. Even if you don't see him, just because he's down at the end and the camera doesn't show him, he's not there. He's up there cheering with his team. He's up there congratulating them. He's lamenting with them. I think that there's people that see sides of him on social media and the way that he is and the Troel nature of him, just think that, oh, well, he's a blasé guy and only cares about himself. I get that he gives off that vibe. I think he's a very good teammate. I think that he's an incredible player, and when people play with him and then leave, he is a lasting image, and it's not just because he's very good at basketball. I think that that's something when you see people that they go away and then they ask him about, like, what was your time like in the Sixers? Not named Evan Turner, of course. And they'll
what
always,
a jerk, by the way.
And needlessly so. Like, come on.
Like, what are you doing?
What do you get from that?
Well, you want to get clicks.
He got social media.
Yeah,
he got his clicks. Yeah.
But I feel like, he's a great person. He's fun to be around. He has a lot of fun. He doesn't take himself too seriously. Obviously, we know that much. But you see the way that he's interacting, and I feel like you get glimpses of it. But I think that he's just a fun person. And personally, I know he loves his family. I enjoy being around him. Over the years, he's a funny guy.
Yeah, I know it's an interesting spot for both of those guys with the fan base, which is why it's really cool to get check-in from people listening on that conversation. We will hear from some of them next via the Davis Honda text line. We're continuing the conversation on the Sixers and Flyers playoff pushes. And also, John asked for Jalen Hurts to defend himself earlier this week. Well, somebody else came to Jalen Hurts' defense.
I was proud of him.
Do you agree with the points he's making? And do you feel this way about the Eagles franchise quarterback? Hear from Dan Orlovsky and what he had to say on Jalen Hurts coming up next as we continue here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Harper pushes the Phillies. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. I hope you stayed up late last night to watch the Phillies come back against the Giants. They came back after being down in the 7th inning with Bryce Harper leading the charge, going 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Tonight, Christopher Sanchez is on the mound versus left-hander Robbie Ray. First pitch is set for 9:45. The 76ers were down in San Antonio and they fell to the Spurs with Joel Embiid scoring 34 points. And even though Victor Wembanyama left the game early due to a left rib contusion, the Sixers are in the 7th seed with 3 games left in the regular season. Up next, they're going to stay in Texas and take on the Houston Rockets. And it's a big night for the Philadelphia Flyers. They're in New Jersey to face on the Devils. The Fly Guys have won both meetings so far this season. Yesterday, head coach Rick Tocchet joined Kincade Salciunas and spoke about the team's toughness down the stretch.
They're dialed into the system. They can play tired. They can play. You can still win your game if you have your B game. These are the tells I had. These guys are starting to get it and getting mental toughness.
Puck drop is set for 7 p.m. right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. And March Madness ended last night with Michigan defeating UConn to win the men's NCAA championship for the first time since 1989. And NBC Sports analyst Jen Lynam will join us at 9:05. This update's also brought to you by AAA Tire and Auto Service. Save $15 off your next oil change plus $7 toward your next service with Duramax dollars at AAA Tire and Auto Service. Offer ends April 13th. Visit AAA.com/car for details. I'm Austin Jones in the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union.
Fanatic app.
Well, 2 out of 3 on the Rejoin 8 bat. Andrew Salciunas currently on vacation.
That's what Meatloaf said.
Connor Thomas sitting in here. That's correct. Alongside John Kincade, you just heard. And Amy Fadul in studio with us for the remainder of the show today. We've been covering everything. We've been talking Sixers and Flyers playoff push. Tough loss for the Sixers in San Antonio last night. Not unexpected. Victor Wembanyama going down, though, felt like it would give them more of an opportunity. And
So we were running post game, and we get sound from Dominic Barlow, and they're like, "I'll go to Dominic Barlow." So here's Dominic Barlow in the locker room, and Dominic Barlow is going on, and he had some great things to say about, because he used to be part of the Spurs organization when they were not winning. I think it was Wemby's rookie year. So great stuff on that. But he also included the Spurs are 15-8 this year without Victor Wembanyama, and I was like, "You think that guy pulled that out of the hat? Talk about a talking point! You got a little insight of what the discussion was at halftime there." So they found out that Victor Wembanyama was injured. Obviously, we saw him go down. They called it a rib injury. He kind of like grabbed his shoulder, but it did kind of look like an oblique, but it's a rib contusion, I think is what they said. So, or a strain. But it was a rib injury, so he did not come back. Of course, he had 17 points in like 14 minutes of work, it felt like. But so when he said 15-8, I was like, well, that's obviously a really heavy talking point, because it just showed that it was a really good team. It's like the Pistons without Cade Cunningham. They've obviously continued to win, but you thought there would be an opportunity to go inside more. And so that's something we really watch when we're watching the game all together, Mark, Jim, and I. And the way that they all kind of like, for lack of a better, like corralled the troops and really clogged that lane. Points in the paint, Sixers got outscored by 20 points. And it was because no one could drive in. They're like, why isn't Embiid driving? Why isn't Maxey driving? Every time they did, you saw the one VJ Edgecombe. He literally met with a giant body right there. He
wasn't afraid to do it, though.
Right, he played through the contact, but that's why those guys got so many free throws for the Sixers,
right.
But they didn't get buckets inside. It was a huge wall of much bigger, like Stephon Castle, 6'6". That's a really big guy, probably a guy that's going to make an all-defensive team, if I had to guess. So that was a little bit, you were thinking like, oh, there's no big giant person in there. Still really good defense, and just a big wall. Like Vassell and some of those guys they're just longer players.
Connor, being brought back to the poll question where we're talking about Embiid and Bryce Harper, one of our fine, followers on Twitter saying, John, you let Amy Fadul say that Joel Embiid's a good teammate, especially when he's skipping film sessions. He decides when he wants to play, when it's convenient for him. Obviously, last year getting called out by Maxey.
I would take exception when it's convenient for him. He doesn't make those decisions.
He told us he did, though.
No, because he clearly wanted to play against the Wizards.
Yeah, well, that's what he says. But he told us, and I was reading the quote yesterday when he said he'll be making the calls from now on. He was going to take control of his.
Sure. Okay. I'm sure he thinks he's going to. You think
back before that this recovery time, he told us, I'm things are going to be different this time.
Sure.
I'm going to be making. We'll be calling the shots.
So, and just like, let's just put this out there in the universe. You paid somebody $55 million as an employer. Do you think that you make the call, or do you think the employee makes the call?
Oh, I think that absolutely the employer makes the call.
So I love that, but that goes to.
But he could make the biggest public stink if he wanted.
Well, he's already kind of made one. That was a pretty.
Yeah, he was.
Well, he did it after they kept him out of a game when he missed a meeting. When he missed the film session, he missed the shoot around.
He missed shoot around. Obviously, he was sick. I think that there was, and I don't know the text messages or the exchange of it. I think that he told them that he had been up sick. They knew that he had been sick for the Heat game, and he played in that game. I don't think that they probably assumed that if he came to workouts or the shoot around that he would be there. I'm sure he assumed that if he didn't, because he told them he only got 2 hours of sleep and was going to sleep in, that he was fine. I don't know I don't know where the communication was on that.
I'm going back to last year when Maxey had to, in a team meeting, say to him, we need you to be on time. We need you to be the guy who does what everybody else does around here.
Yeah, I think that that's a leadership role.
But he's not doing it.
That was last year where he played 19 of the 82 games. So I'm going to throw last year away.
Okay, like a bathwater.
I don't
exactly.
I just feel like last year
is
a little bit. But I do take exception of like he plays when it's convenient for him. I think that's been, because I think that's something that's been through Joel Embiid's entire career. When we go back to the Twitter poll about like how are you judged and who's had the better overall career, one of the knocks for people to give Joel Embiid is they think that he just like quits on the team. I don't know that I've ever seen that. I've never seen him just be like, well, that was fun. And again, last year, I don't know that anybody thought that season was going to go the way that it did. It was as sideways as the season could go. But I feel like that's been an overriding theme for Joel Embiid. It's been like, well, he just, he doesn't care enough. He's not that interested in basketball. You've seen those things over the years. He's interested in doing other things, and he'll play when he wants to play. I think that's because of the way that everything's been handled from the jump. And now you're looking at two, maybe three different regimes, really, when you're looking at it, between the very first one, whatever the Colangelo situation was, and then now with a different regime as far as how the handling goes. But one thing has been similar is Joel Embiid has not been really in charge. They have a very specific plan. He rested 2 years to start his career, the no back-to-backs. He said at the beginning of the season, I want to play. And they said, absolutely not. So for them to turn around and be like, well, he only wants to play when he wants to play. Okay, well, which is it? Does he want to play when he wants to play, or do you want the team to dictate? Because the most important thing for the team is that guy gets the postseason healthy. That's all they care about. And that's all, honestly, I care about too. You've never seen Joel Embiid healthy for a postseason. It's never happened.
The quote from him was, too, is I don't think I'll play in back-to-backs the rest of my career. That was last year.
Yeah, because that's what they've told him. But then when you follow it up and said, do you want to? I want to play as much as I can. That's the quote.
Yeah, it's still as bad. Well, as much as you can is different, though.
No. I literally asked him, do you want to play in back-to-backs? Yes, I want to play as much as I can. You can't be more. That was a media day.
Yeah.
Yeah, get it. I think at this point you could make.
I don't need him to play back.
Right.
Well, now we do. At this point,
at this point, I really do. I need you to play as many games. There's only 3 left, friend. Though I don't know if you need him against the Pacers. Things have gone really wrong.
Then it's really off.
It's like, okay.
But you haven't left yourself a lot of room for slip.
You do. You have to win as many games as you want. And I think the overriding thought was when he came back. You thought, well, there's only 2 back-to-backs at that point. Play him in all of those games because there are no such thing as back-to-backs in the postseason. And if you get the 6th seed, then you have the week off, the 6 days off. So I think that there was some thought by that. But I think that ship sailed. I mean, he's never playing it. That's not unusual at this point in any Stars team. I mean,
yeah, that's.
I
more
think
of
I
an
saw that
NBA
Nikola
culture
Jokic has to
thing.
play every single game from here on out in order to qualify for an All-NBA team. That is the silliest thing I ever did see. What are we doing? You're telling me that guy's not going to be on an All-NBA team because he has to play the last game of the season? Stop it.
That's the double-edged sword of the new rule.
And I get it.
It's the Embiid rules.
I get
they
it.
put in. They put in the
Should
Embiid.
be like,
It's not just Joe, though.
that's
If
the
anything,
thing.
the rules were put in for.
If anything, it's more the LeBron culture rules. But that's
no. That man is 41 years old and plays all of the time.
But people
Don't
put
bring
it
my
more
king
on
into
him.
this.
I'm a LeBron guy.
62 years old, and
But
he
people
plays
point back
every
to him
day
first
almost.
for
Thank
the
you,
load
Andy.
management and everything like that. But this is not just a Joe thing. It's interesting because
Technically,
we
the
have.
Spurs started the load management thing
Let's call it the pop rules.
decades ago, and they did it well.
The
Very
Tim
well.
Duncan out because he's old rule.
It's a great rule. It
We
works.
can go back as long as we need to.
Good club.
So he's been a very polarizing figure, obviously, and Bryce
Always.
Harper's another one, which is why those two are a big part of our conversation here. So we'll check our Twitter poll on that and the responses we're getting. We have people even reaching out through the Twitter and text line and everything on that, too. So we'll look at that. And then, Amy, we also have to get your idea on the national championship last night. We mentioned it in today's headlines, but Michigan taking down UConn. And as the big basketball fan in the college ranks that you are, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what it shows us about where the college game is right now. So we'll talk about that coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas. We continue here with Amy Fadul in studio with us right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
There is so much buzz surrounding Benari Jewelers' April bridal event. It's coming up this weekend, the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th. They're going to break their own rules. You're going to get the best prices of the year this weekend. It's the biggest ever sale on engagement rings and wedding bands. So if you've been shopping for that ring, you're going to get pricing that you've never seen before. You're going to save up to 20% on thousands of rings. Plus, it's going to be a big deal because designers have been flying in with their entire collections. So that means you're going to have like double the choices you normally would see in their gorgeous showrooms in Exton and Newtown Square. So all the ones she loves on Benari's Instagram are going to be there, and they're all on sale. It's this weekend. But here's something even better. How about interest-free financing with approved credit? Yeah, that's good. That helps your dollar go a little further. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The details are available for you at BenariJewelers.com. But you have to get in. Exton and Newtown Square. You've got 3 days to take advantage of this amazing savings. Get something even more special. Go a little bit further. Get her the dream the dream ring that's going to just make her life just a little better. And your future, well, it's going to sparkle. Benari Jewelers, Exeter in Newtown Square. This weekend's the big event. Tell them John Kincade sent you in.
The Flyers are red hot and looking to keep moving up the standings and locking in a playoff spot. How far can this team go? Let's talk about it. Philadelphia's radio home for Flyers hockey. 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkas, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver is
All right. Well, we are heading quickly towards the 9 o'clock hour here on Kincade Salciunas, where we've got a little Sixers pre- and post-game reunion. Jim Lynam joins us coming up at 9:05, and we have Amy Fadul in studio with us. If you're listening for Andrew Salciunas, well, he's on vacation down in Florida. He'll be back on Monday, so Johnny and I got you held down all week.
We got you.
And we've been talking about the playoff pushes going on with the Sixers and the Flyers. The Phils, if you didn't stay up late to see it, a nice 6-4 comeback win last night. We got something later on in the 9 o'clock hour I can't wait to talk about with what the bullpen has done. Another wild stat for you on where they've been, because they've been incredible in a stretch. But I want to check in on our Twitter poll here, because we've been kind of pitting Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper against each other.
Yeah, who did that? That was you.
That was me. Now, I made it clear earlier, and I will say it again here. Like, voting how you vote, taking the side that you take in this, it is no knock to the person that you're against. doubt there are some in the fan base who are anti-Joel Embiid, anti-Bryce Harper, and to those folks, I say, hey, wait till you see what it's like when they're not playing here anymore. But picking Bryce Harper over Embiid or Embiid over Harper, they're both transcendent talents. So it doesn't have to be a negative thing for either of these guys. I just view them as strikingly similar in a lot of ways in their time here in Philadelphia. And resume is one of them. I think you could be on either side of this one. The Twitter poll's always up thanks to Dr. Avidan Appel of Iron Mountain Men's Health. Austin, what's our poll question today?
Alrighty, so the poll question of today is, who has the better individual resume between Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper in their time in Philadelphia? Still leading the charge, Bryce Harper at 68% and Joel Embiid, second place, 32%.
So only 32% saying Joe. That did come down a little bit because Harper was at 69% when we checked in the 7 o'clock hour. Amy, it sounds like from what you've been saying so far since you've been in with us, your vote on that would be for Joe?
No.
Oh, okay, so it would be Harper.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Joel Embiid has an
smoke, Connor.
Impressive resume. There's no doubt Joel Embiid is a Hall of Famer. He's going to go down as one of the best Sixers to ever play. He's an MVP. Could have been a 2-time MVP, depending on like when you look at the stats, but he's going up against another all-timer in Jokic, which wild. You should check out the MVP race right now. Jokic is going to finish third. Check out his numbers. Triple-double to finish third in the MVP. But what Bryce Harper has been able to do, putting a team on his back, I think in that World Series run, and the only reason you kind of like look at it differently through a different lens is because it's gone backwards ever since 2022. You know, they've taken steps backward in the postseason. But I think it's when you look at what Joel Embiid has done and the way that basketball is oriented, meaning there's only 4 other players out there with the court with you, his contribution and sometimes the mistakes are going to be more amplified and everything will be more like on him, so to speak, because he is the best player on the team. Though I think this year Tyrese Maxey's the best player on the team. I think that's not a question in my mind. It doesn't mean that Joel Embiid on any given night isn't the best player out there, but I think overall the MVP is the guy that's 5th in the NBA right now in scoring, and just a tremendous, tremendous season for Tyrese Maxey. But I would have to, if I look at the overall resume from their time here, I think that you go Bryce Harper just for his time here in Philadelphia. Joel Embiid will get a little bit more love because he's only played here, and so you see where he started and where he's at now. He's turned into the player they expected. You expected to draft a 3rd overall, a guy that would help turn your franchise around, would get you, other players to come here and become an MVP. And he did all of those things. What he has not done is gotten the Sixers past the 2nd round. That is the most glaring thing. And so when you're looking at an overall poll of comparison, Bryce Harper has at least gotten them close to the promised land. Joel Embiid has not helped the Sixers get to the promised land. So that's where it's always going to come down. Because it is very, very close. MVPs,
is that fair?
I think it is fair.
I think it's fair. I mean,
this is as apparently a Joel Embiid apologist.
Trevor Noah. So. I mean, poor Trevor Noah kept him out of the 1 round, and then staying up with Trevor Noah and going out and poop, and then having the poops. There's a lot of like little things that kept them out of advancing out of the 2nd round. Yeah, it's a lot of information. Joel shares it.
There's also some the other teams help them get out of the.
Also a carry, being able to carry the basketball also hurt them against Toronto, or they would have advanced. That was a travel.
Yeah,
that is a no. That will always be a travel in my mind. It's always a It is. Well, first of all, it was a travel. So bottom line, it's a travel. Whether they don't call that is another thing. That's just the NBA.
Yeah, I'm not.
It'll always be a travel to me.
I'll never remember that as a travel, but that's a conversation for you.
At least, that season, I think people were going to go down because it was the only team to take the Raptors to 7. It was a very good Raptors team with an all-time player, Kawhi Leonard, on there. Kawhi Leonard, fun fact, little trivia question. He's the only player to win a Finals MVP in both the West and the East.
Oh, would you look at that?
Look at you. Look at the big brain on Brad.
For people wanting to have a little trivia for their friends, there you go. That's the only guy to ever do it, which is pretty remarkable to think about that no one's ever won an MVP, Finals MVP in both conferences.
That is kind of crazy. All right, so not an MVP at the professional level, but we had a champion crowned at the collegiate level last night.
That we did.
We haven't talked about this yet, but Amy, you and I were chatting a little bit off air. Michigan takes down UConn last night. Turned into a great game, which is everyone was billing Michigan-Arizona as the national championship game. And
that was a dud.
Yeah, it really was. So I'm glad we got a good one at least.
Yes.
it's kind of referendum feels like a strong word, but it's an interesting picture into where college sports are right now. And we'll just use the frame of basketball. Michigan becomes the first team ever to win a national championship with a starting five all comprised of transfer players. Meanwhile, you have UConn, you have Caravan playing for them, who has won 2 with UConn and been there for the entirety of his time in college.
Which would have been amazing to go for 3.
It really would have been. One of the great stories. I think like the last guys that did it were a couple of guys on UCLA back in the day.
Sure.
We're going way back.
Transfer portal is probably going to prevent that from ever happening again.
Exactly.
What does this say to you about the state of college basketball with an all-transfer starting five winning it versus that? Am I overstating that aspect of this?
I don't think so. It's something we were talking about NBC Sports Philadelphia last night. Just how college basketball, the whole tenor of it has changed and shifted, and it's the NIL, yes. It's the NIL coupled with the transfer portal and the wild west feel of a guy that has played at 6 different schools in 6 years because he got a COVID year. A guy that's played at 4 different schools in 4 years and now is applying for the transfer portal and maybe getting a waiver. It's like, what are we doing? And I'm not just talking about loyalty, because I think that there should be rules for coaches as well. Like when I see what Will Wade did, I'm like, well, of course he did. But I just think because that's Will Wade. But I think it is a real change of the tenor. It makes you not appreciate the game as much. It's not as much fun to watch, to be honest. I think the fans are going to lose interest after a while because there's just no carryover.
I love seeing the players have say and being able to move around and things like that. But I don't
you gotta have some cap to it.
Too much. It's too much.
Yeah, it's just like you open the door without any restrictor plates on it, and now it's tough to put.
I mean, 4 schools in 4 years. Like if you tell me that you can transfer once, twice.
I'll give you 2 times.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 times.
I'll give you 2 times.
That'd be fine.
Yeah, it was the perfect storm, though, with the NIL, with the COVID years, with all the eligibility stuff. And, credit to Michigan. They were a great team this year. They fully deserved it.
Do you know the next college basketball game?
Oof. I don't. When is it?
November 1st, 2026, in Rome, Villanova, Notre Dame.
Really?
Wow. Yeah. That'll be a great game, especially here locally. Something to get ready for
With the
there.
Pope. The Villanova Pope.
It is right around the corner.
There it is, right there, November.
And I'm a Catholic, and it gives me issues with the Pope.
Something that is right around the corner is Jim Lynam joining us. He'll check.
Ouch.
He'll check in with us at 9:05. We'll talk some more Sixers there. We're also going to check in on what the folks are saying on the Davis Honda text line as we reset what we've been getting into, the big topics of the day. It is Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
I'm glad we have a Bradford White water heater in our house because, look, the last thing I need is a cold shower in the morning. I need a long, relaxing shower to get ready at 4 o'clock in the morning. I need to be able to stay comfortable. I need to be able to run the laundry when we need to. I need to be able to have the dishwasher run. I need a water heater that is going to be reliable because a lot of people don't think about a water heater as being an appliance in your house, but it also is the backbone of other appliances being able to do things. So you need a great Bradford White water heater in your home. Bradford White is built to be the best with the greatest components from around the world. Their hybrid heat pump models are amazing. Their tankless models are fantastic. And you right now go to BradfordWhite.com. A plumbing professional will find you, and they will bring a Bradford White model right to you, install it for peak efficiency, and then you will start to feel the great savings. Not only that great hot water bouncing off your back in the morning when you need it. Look, how you heat your water, it matters. Do business with a great company. These folks, they are the best. Bradford White. Get on in with a Bradford White water heater. Go to BradfordWhite.com.
Now, on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Bryce Harper led the Phillies last night over the Giants while he went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Tonight, Christopher Sanchez is on the mound versus left-hander Robbie Ray. First pitch is set for 9:45. The 76ers were in San Antonio last night. They fell to the Spurs even though Joel Embiid dropped 34 points on them. Victor Wembanyama even left the game early, but the Sixers couldn't pull out the win. They're still in the 7th spot, and they have 3 games left in the regular season. They'll return to the court on Thursday when they take on the Houston Rockets. It's a big night for the Flyers as they're in New Jersey to take on the Devils. The Flyers have won both meetings so far against New Jersey. Yesterday, Flyers head coach Rick Tocchet joined Kincade Salciunas right here on the Fanatic and spoke about the team's toughness down the stretch.
They're dialed into the system. They can play tired. They can play. You can still win your game if you have your B game. These are the tells I had. These guys are starting to get it and getting mental toughness.
Puck drop is set for 7 p.m. right here on the Fanatic, and March Madness is coming when Michigan won the men's NCAA championship for the first time since 1989. Coming up at 9:05 is NBC sports analyst Jim Lynam. This update is also brought to you by... It's also brought to you by the Crohn's and Colitis disease. The Crohn's and Colitis disease has led to inflammatory disease research for over 50 years. Learn more at Crohn's and Colitis Foundation.org. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
Kincade and Salciunas, 6 to 10 a.m. Middays with Marks, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And Unfiltered with Ricky Bowe and Bill Colarulo, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. The best sports talk for the best sports fans.
Winning in April is not as important as the Sixers continuing their postseason push. So if you had to pick one last night, I'd imagine most fans would have probably said, hey, it'd be really cool to see the Sixers go into San Antonio and knock off the Spurs. I predicted that they were going to. Yeah, and it didn't exactly go the way that I thought.
Are the Sixers making a playoff push, Connor?
They're trying to.
But are they? Like, I mean, I know that the Flyers are. I don't feel like the Sixers are. Like, I feel like the Sixers are trying. Like, I don't think they're rolling over or anything like that. But where I feel like the Flyers are making a playoff push, I feel like the Sixers are slogging along.
Have you ever seen somebody like running and you can tell they're about to lose their balance? Like they're leaning too far forward and they're about to fall over.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like the Sixers are doing.
I'm so freaking tired of hearing about guys making tens of millions of dollars. And I'm having to hear about whether they're happy or not. Like, it just annoys the hell out of me, whether they're happy or not. You know who isn't happy? There's Joe the plumber, who's listening to us right now on the app as he's loading up his toolkit and getting everything set up for all the jobs he's got to do today. That was a great night at the plate for Harper. And again, we talked about it last week. Do I think he's an elite-level performer anymore? He's up there with the Otanis and the Judges and everything. I do not. Do I think he is still a very, very good player? Yeah.
Do you view Bryce Harper and Joel Embiid the same way right now as star players in this?
Now back to the show.
All right, that's what we've been getting into so far here on Kincade and Salciunas. New voice in the room, Amy Fadul, with us for the remainder of the show. She's been with us since the start of the 8 o'clock hour. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, Jim Lynam will join us, and we might just let Amy and Coach just do Sixers post game, the morning after edition.
I want to know how Coach has so much damn energy. That's what I got to say.
Listen, he's been in Florida.
Well, he's had playing a ton of golf.
He's living the life.
Enjoying the sun.
That's why he's great, man. That's why
he
he's
is.
great. He's always on.
He's the best.
Yeah, and his daughter, D-Line, is pretty good, too, on these airwaves as well. So
his daughter, Kathy, was in my class at O'Hara, and I apologize. She had to sit behind me in many classes because we had to sit alphabetically. And she turned out to be like this really bright student, like top of her class. And She heard me talking in every class.
She must have earplugs for that.
Poor kid. Poor kid. Kathy achieved a lot, though, thankfully.
Something clearly worked out in that family. We'll talk to Coach coming up at 9:05. Let's check in on the Davis Honda text line here to get some feedback on what we've been getting into today with the Joel Embiid and Bryce Harper comparison and the general talk about the two playoff pushes. Austin, what do we have on the text line?
Yeah, so not much has changed in regards to, the debate between Bryce Harper and Joel Embiid. One text we got today is from Fire Medic Dale. The big difference between Joel and Bryce is the perception of Bryce being a true blue-collar guy. He's the type of player that fits the city, whereas I don't think Joel has that going for him, especially with the most recent sleeping fiasco. Looking at the past players who has been beloved by this city, I think it's a true factor that gets overlooked.
Bryce Harper is one of the furthest things from blue-collar, but he does embrace the mentality of the city. He ain't blue collar.
Yeah, the guy's on TikTok making lattes.
He's not blue collar. He is very far from.
He grew up blue collar.
Right. He's very far from blue collar, though.
He's got blue collar roots.
Absolutely. Yeah, dad working in Vegas in construction. Of course. And but
it's hard. I get it. He's not blue collar.
He is not blue collar, and he doesn't embrace blue collar.
His work ethic, I think, is.
I'll give you that.
And I feel like he has that kind of finger on the pulse of that, which I think is important.
I think he embraces the work ethic is great.
Which I think is really important. It's also hard to be blue collar when you've been on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 16.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like people say that about like LeBron James. Oh, look, LeBron, he's like fancy now. LeBron James grew up in a single mother household. He didn't know where some of his meals were coming from.
LeBron's freaking awesome.
And those guys turned out to be who they were supposed to. Like, there is something to be said for that. Like, that's really hard to do, to have that kind of pressure on you on the covers of magazines drafted.
Don't misstep.
Right? Nothing.
Don't take one misstep.
But yeah, it is funny to say like he's blue collar and he makes like his lattes.
On the other hand,
today we're making these lattes.
Like you see like LeBron, he's out there with like snifter of like cognac or whatever.
Yes.
I'm like, what's happening right now? But I love it. Like these guys have,
on the other hand, though,
I suppose,
where Bryce Harper has turned out exactly who he was expected to be, and there's something to be said for that. Joel Embiid has turned out exactly who he wasn't expected to be, with everything that he's turned himself into as a basketball player and how quickly he's made that jump, like looking at his career. I'm surprised that doesn't resonate more, but with how much time has passed with these guys in the city, the perspective changes. And
yeah, and winning cures all ills. And it is really, there is some recency bias. And let's just face it, the recency bias right now with Joel Embiid is you played 19 games last year.
Yeah.
In one of the most disappointing seasons in Sixers history. And that goes back to when they only won 10 games. And, oh, my phone went off.
Joel's calling right now.
He is. He's like, oh, my God. Amy, stop talking about me. But so it's one of those things of like, if the Sixers went on some kind of run and Joel Embiid was at the forefront, we would all be like, this is exactly who we thought he was going to be. But because we haven't seen that, it's been really hard to give him the nod over Bryce Harper, who has turned out to be that player. And it's not to say Joel Embiid can't be that guy or hasn't shown to be that guy. Look at him in the postseason. He was great in that Knicks series.
That Knicks series, he was great.
He was great. He was really good, and he has shown up in the postseason when he's been healthy. The problem is you've never had him healthy for an entire postseason, and that has been always the biggest question mark. You do not have that with Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper hasn't missed whole chunks of season. He rarely gets injured, and when he does, it's like, oh my gosh, when's he coming back? Thank goodness he's coming back, and he's back before you know it. So I think that that's always going to be the big overriding kind of divisiveness, is Bryce Harper's played, has risen to the occasion, and has been available. Joel Embiid, when he's been available, has risen to the occasion, but it's when he's been available. That's always what people are going to be able to say.
Well, maybe this is the year the run happens, or at least they give themselves a chance by staying out of the play-in game. There's a lot to be figured out with the Sixers, and that's why we have Coach Jim Lynam joining us now here on Kincade Salciunas. Coach, appreciate you taking the time, and a nice little pre- and post-game Sixers reunion here with Amy Fadul with us. What is your evaluation of what you saw from the Sixers last night in San Antonio? Tough loss for them, a good fight in the first half. What'd you make of that game?
Well, I was disappointed, to be honest. Amy knows we spoke about it last night. When Wembanyama got hurt, he didn't come back for the second half. And the Sixers were, unable to take advantage of his absence. And to say that it was a huge opportunity missed is an understatement.
I can tell you this is right now watching this Sixers team down the stretch, Coach, I wonder, are we going to talk about another spring where we get the excuse from the Sixers that, well, we just didn't have the time to gel. We never had the time to get all our players together to be able to put something together. How is this supposed to work out that they're ready to go once the postseason begins?
Well, they're going to have to be, plain and simple, if they're going to do it. I think that in terms of health, at least they're trending in a positive direction. I think that's a good sign. And I did like Embiid's game last night. I have to say that. He was incredibly aggressive. He was active on both ends of the court. And, he was going against one of the top players in the league, and Wembanyama, before Wemby went out with that injury. So, no, I don't think all hope is lost, but they put themselves in a precarious position by losing these past two games. Their fate no longer is in their hands.
Yeah, Coach, I know we talked about it last night with the way that everything's going to shake out and the teams that are also vying for that sixth spot and what their record or their schedule looks like the rest of the way. How much, and you've been in the position as a coach and as a general manager, how much do you have to guard against, watching that scoreboard and just trying to focus on your team and keep your team locked in, because every game does matter. And I'm not talking about the Rockets game because I feel like that's on its paper. You know that they're going to be locked in for that one. But really more, you don't have a misstep against something like the Pacers or, God forbid, at home against the Bucks.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
A misstep would be an understatement at this point, Amy. No, you make, I think, an accurate analysis that you just have to block out. They can't really, concern themselves with what these other teams are doing. I think in my world, they have to win 3 straight games. There's too many other variables out there with too many teams involved. I mean, the NBA, it's almost like they constructed this. This is like a dream for them to have all these teams, 5 teams, vying essentially for these 4 spots with 1 week to go in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Coach, people have talked about the Sixers nationally, locally. They use the term dangerous team is what we've heard so much when it comes to getting into the postseason. When you hear that, what does that mean to you with this current team?
No, I concur with that. They, when healthy, Paul George, since he's come back from that suspension, has really played terrific. And the fact that he missed all those games that could turn out to be a positive. He's got a well-rested body at this point in the season. And if Joel Embiid can stay where he is right now with respect to good health, no, they're I know some people are saying, well, it would be better if they finish in the 7th spot as opposed to the 8th spot. I don't care who they play. I don't care if they play Detroit. I don't care if they play the Boston Celtics, both of whom are really, really good teams. I think they have a puncher's chance against anybody they play when healthy.
Coach, Amy wanted to punch me the other day when I suggested that, but then we had a few guests on who said that facing Detroit in the first round is a more desirable matchup for this Sixers roster than playing the Boston Celtics right now, who arguably might be, the best odds-on favorite out of the Eastern Conference to win the title. You can't pick your opponent, and I know as a coach you say take on anybody, but wouldn't Detroit, especially with Cade probably going to miss half the first round at minimum, wouldn't that be potentially a better path for them?
Oh, yeah. No, I think I would I'd take that on in a heartbeat. The Celtics, I have to be honest and say, they've amazed me with what they've done without Tatum basically the whole season. And as you just accurately stated, Cade is out for at least the beginning of the playoffs, it would appear. So, yeah, if I had my choice, I would take Detroit over the challenge of the Celtics.
You would.
He's got my man. That's my man, Jimmy. That's my man, Jimmy Lynam.
The coach also knows that you don't want to ever line up you're not trying to lose to get in the 8. Coach knows
No.
Exactly.
I don't think they can lose, Amy, at this point.
Yeah, I think that's...
If they lose one of these remaining 3 games, I think they're in the play-in.
Yeah, agreed. I think that we mapped it out last night. I know, Coach, 46 wins is what you got to get to. But when you're looking ahead, and it's something that John touched on a little bit, I think that my calculations is 20 games that we've seen with everybody, your full complement, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, VJ Edgecombe, everybody, 20 or 21. I'd have to go back and check my notebook. But as a coach, because there's so much veteran presence on this team, is that enough time for them to know what they need to do together and where everybody is and spacing and all that stuff when they're going to face whomever it's going to be, whether it's the first team in the play-in or the first round of the playoffs?
Yeah, I'd like to answer your question, directly, Aim. When you say, is it enough time? Ideally, no. Obviously, I would want more games with that group, but it is what it is. It's like saying I heard you talking earlier, you guys, with respect to the college situation. Of course, you'd like to have players return year after year. Now, the 5 transfers won it last night. It wasn't the idea you'd like to have them together for 3 years. Well, they didn't, but they figured it out. And that's what the Sixers are going to have to do. These guys have played together, maybe not as much as they want, but they're going to have to call on their best efforts at this time of the year. And hopefully it'll be in a playoff situation rather than play-in situation.
We're talking to Coach Jim Lynam here on Kincade and Salciunas. You can see him on pre- and post-game live on NBC Sports Philadelphia alongside Amy Fadul, who's in studio with us. Now, Coach, question for you. With another strange year for Nick Nurse, with the availability and everything going on with the roster, how do you evaluate his job as a Sixers coach so far this year?
Yeah, that's a good kind of analysis or on your part, Andrew, that it's a strange situation. When night after night to an 82-game season, literally you have no idea, who's walking in that locker room going to be available for you. So I think you have to give him, big-time kudos on the fact that he managed the situation that was really volatile in terms of personnel in a pretty good manner. I think he's an even-keeled guy. I know Nick, obviously. I don't know him all that well. But I think he has a demeanor, of calm about him. And I think that translates over to a team. And in this situation, I think it was vital.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the time very much.
Thanks, Coach.
And you got some extra Amy Fadul time
See you
in.
Thursday.
Which no one is ever mad at.
I'll bring
He gets a 2-day break and more golfing.
All right, guys. My pleasure.
Thanks, Coach.
There he is. Coach Jim Lynam joining us live here on Kincade and Salciunas. Yeah, you know what? I think the biggest takeaway of everything we've talked about with the Sixers, I'm a big, wherever you've been, we're here, so let's figure out how we're going to progress.
Yeah.
They got to win out. If they're going to be outside of the play-in tournament, they got to win out.
That's you win out, you're it. You win out, you should be out of the play-in tournament. You should be. And you have 2 winnable games at the end.
Yeah, because then you'll separate yourself enough from teams because you own the tiebreaker over the Raptors. And so if you finish with the exact same record as them, it doesn't really matter because you would have – that's where you have to get.
Unless Miami wins both games. But if Miami wins both games, then you've got it. You're not even worried about them because they're not going to – the worst they get to is 45. So you're fine.
The Heat, you mean?
Yeah, the Heat.
Yes.
Miami gets – if they win all they're going to – then Miami could knock off Toronto twice, though.
The only people that can get there are the Raptors and the Hornets. They can get there.
So we're rooting for little Eric Spoelstra twice to knock off the Raptors.
Tell Bam
twice.
to go get 83 again for us.
Just start fouling.
Whatever you got to do.
By the way, I did. I don't know if you heard is Shaq had on his podcast, some others on their podcast. The NBA reaction within the NBA community to the Bam Adebayo performance is not a lot of positives within his peers.
Did you expect there to be?
I think people recognize what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, not very positive though. Not a positive.
I don't think it was negative. I think it was just there.
Yeah, it's just like but I think he expected it to be, I'm going to be.
I don't know. I don't know that he. Do you think he expected it?
I think he expected to be now I'm in the pantheon. Now my name is up with all these other great guys, and I don't think
he thought it'd be a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
I think they cheapened.
I don't know that these players think like that, like back in the day.
I don't want to hear Heat culture ever again, because that was so bastardizing the record books. It's terrible. That to me is.
Some might say that that's what happened in the other games.
It didn't happen in Kobe's though. It did not happen in Kobe's.
No, yeah, not.
I don't know about. I don't know about Wilt.
There is a gentleman that says he played against Wilt in that game that has come out and said towards the end they were fouling and whatever else. I'm like, I don't know.
I don't even know.
I'd have to check out the radio call of it.
I did produce for Bill Campbell once, the play-by-play guy of the game.
There you go.
And I did not. And Bill Campbell.
One of my favorite things is when people talk about how the 100 game didn't happen, and then I'll have Jim Lynam be like, "Let me tell you, Coach,
he knows.
I already know, Coach. I know.
That's got to annoy the hell out of
Stuff like
Jim
that
Lynam.
is just But it's interesting. I've had this conversation with several people, and they want me to say, like, Coach must think like the Joel Embiid, Will Chamberlain comparison is a joke, right? I'm like, absolutely not. He thinks he's never seen a player like Joel Embiid, and he's very high on that kind of skill set and what he's able to do. Coach is able to, because the one conversation we always get into is the greatest of all time, right? We always have that. Everybody has that. And you ask Coach, who coached and had a thorn in his side that was Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls, for large parts of his coaching decades. He won't commit to it, and it's not because he doesn't have an answer. He's like, you're comparing two different things. So you can have Wilt be amazing and be the all-time center and just an incredible player, and you can also acknowledge that Nikola Jokic is on that level and Joel Embiid is on that level. It doesn't mean you can't have one. So it's always so funny to me because the people be like, I can't believe that Coach would ever say Wilt's better than Joel or Joel's better. He doesn't say any one of them are better. He just says he's never seen a player like Joel Embiid, and honestly, you're going to be hard-pressed to see a player like him ever again. But I will say Coach does not pick between Michael Jordan and LeBron. He doesn't. He won't pick.
That's a smart place to stay, is out of that debate. But to avoid going back down that rabbit hole. So, Amy, I'll ask you this because I want to know kind of where your confidence level is at, because we know what they got to do. Sixers got to win out if they're going to be out of the playing game. So, Joel Embiid, do you believe he's going to play in the rest of the games that the Sixers have?
I don't. And the only reason is because I don't think that they're going to need him in the Pacers game. But I do. Do I want him to play? Do I think he should play in all three? Absolutely. But do I think he will? There's nothing in their DNA that says that guy for the first time in 2 years is going to play in a back-to-back, especially when the second one is against the Pacers.
So that would be the game that he misses, but you expect him to play in the rest outside of that?
If he doesn't play in that Houston Rockets game against Alperen Şengün, they have no... That is an absolute wonderful matchup for him. Şengün is a tremendous player, but he would play very well against him. That's a matchup I want to see. They need him to win that game, in my opinion, so he better play in that Rockets game.
So then the follow-up question is this. Where's your confidence level that they can win out and avoid being in the play?
It's pretty good. If he plays in that Rockets game, I know Houston's playing well. They've won 6 in a row. They kind of figured out whatever they were kind of going through. I think they have some nice players. I'm a big fan of watching PG going against Kevin Durant. I think that'll be a good matchup. But I feel like the Sixers, listen, if they played better in that fourth quarter, because they played well in the third, they would have won the Spurs game, or at least it would have been a toss-up at the end, which is I like their chances in games like that. I think the same could be said for the Rockets game. Their bench has to come through, though. That was very disappointing when you had guys like Quentin Grimes and Kelly Oubre, who was not a bench guy. He was a starter last night, but they can't only take 14 shots between the two of them.
Yeah,
and only hit 4 of them. You can't have that. Cannot have that. The bench got smoked last night. Spurs bench put up 50.
I do like that you're still in a spot, though, where you believe this can happen. Because I think a lot of people hear, Sixers got to win out at this point, and they'll just be
I think winning out, when you hear that, there's it's 3 games, and 2 of them are 2 teams that are not interested in winning. It's not a misstep. If you lose those games, then you deserve a play-in. If you lose to the Bucks, who have given up on the season, and all the people are talking about is their coach being in the Hall of Fame, not anything about the actual season, stop it.
Exactly.
You can't lose that game.
We will see how it plays out, and we've got all those games for you live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. So if you want to hear Sixers basketball, you are in the right place. The biggest games of the year come your way this week and upcoming. The Flyers with their playoff push as well. The Phillies are early, and for one heck of a comeback win last night, I mean, there's just a lot going on in the city. We haven't really dove all that deep into it. But I want to talk about a really impressive stat for a part of this team that we believed could have gone to another level this year. And has it sneaky been the reason why they have not reached the level of championship that we've been looking for them to? We'll discuss that coming up next year on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Harper pushes the Phillies. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. I hope you stayed up late last night to watch the Phillies come back against the Giants. The Titans won 6-4 after being down in the 7th inning. Bryce Harper led the charge going 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Tonight, Christopher Sanchez is on the mound versus left-hander Robbie Ray, and first pitch is set for 9:45. The 76ers were San Antonio last night, and they fell to the Spurs even though Joel Embiid scored 34 points. And Victor Wembanyama left the game early due to a left rib contusion. The Sixers are going to be still in the 7th spot today with 3 games left in the regular season. They'll be back on the court Thursday night against the Houston Rockets. It's a big night for the Flyers as they're in New Jersey to take on the Devils. The Flyers have won both meetings so far against New Jersey. Yesterday, Flyers head coach Rick Tocchet joined Kincade Salciunas and spoke about the toughness that this team has since January.
They're dialed into the system. They can play tired. They can play. You can still win your game if you have your B game. These are the tells I had. These guys are starting to get it and getting mental toughness.
Puck drop is set for 7 p.m. right here on 97.5. The Fanatic and March Madness came and went, and Michigan is the top dog in men's basketball as they won their first championship since 1989. This update is also brought to you by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has led inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more at crohnscolitisfoundation.org. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
98.5, The Fanatic.
The final hour of Kincade Salciunas is presented to you by The Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. You need details? Go to Bagster.com.
Oh, the stuff we get into during
Sure you
breaks.
could.
I could hit 80
Oh, it's
miles an
amazing.
hour.
No, you couldn't hit
Let's
Greg
get to an
Maddux.
actual realistic sports
Wild to me that he
conversation.
believes that. Yeah, there you go.
Greg
Thank you.
Maddux throwing 80 miles an hour to you, Connor. You could not hit it.
I believe a lot of
You
dumb
wouldn't
stuff.
know. You wouldn't know where the ball's going.
I guess we'll never know.
You wouldn't know where it's going.
What we do know is the Philadelphia Phillies bullpen has been on absolute fire.
Fire.
Amy Fadul in with us here on Kincade and
That's what I was
Salciunas.
thinking.
Andrew on vacation. And I'm not sure if you guys, I know, Amy, you were working, and John, you were up for some of the game.
Until 4-2.
And they brought up a stat once because the Phillies bullpen got a lot of work last night. Rough night for the kid, Andrew Painter. Got touched up a little bit in San Francisco, but it's early for him. He's going to have some time to learn. The Phillies bullpen, though, has been really special in a quick stretch of the season here.
I love it.
It's a small sample size, but batters on opposing teams are 3 for their last 46 against the Philadelphia Phillies bullpen in this stretch.
I like that number.
It's not bad, is it? And we talked about it before the year, this bullpen and how having Joan Duran for a full year, having the addition of Brad Keller, having what feels like a little more depth. We have not even seen Orion Kerkering. I know the year he had last year with inherited runners allowing them to score, but he's still a guy that you look at and say, hey, there's arm talent there. You can use him in a lower leverage role and see what you have, and the bullpen could even be better than what you have right now. I wonder how much this, for you guys, changes the ceiling of this team to have a bullpen that could be the best in baseball.
I've told you before, I would take a team with a good starting rotation and a great bullpen over a great starting rotation and a good bullpen. Anytime.
Yeah.
I love postseason baseball when you know you've got that,
Oh, that
6-inning
lockdown.
game. Play a 6-inning game.
And
And
'cause there's no concerns. 7, 8, 9. You have no concern.
I'd love it. That's what I want. So I'm very, very excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think you should be. I'm more of a starting pitching guy, simply from the numbers of, hey, getting 6 innings is more important than 1 from each of these guys. But still, both are important in the postseason.
Yeah, saw that with the Dodgers last year.
That's the funny thing. Now,
Their bullpen, though, was a little shaky.
No, it was very shaky. They had to bring two starters in the
Of course, like the one game,
Exactly.
it was fine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Great, even.
Through like 14
Nice,
straight
great.
great innings against
Yeah.
the Phillies in that series finale. But we can wipe that.
He didn't
Yeah,
cry,
didn't
and he
have
didn't cry. We cried, but he didn't cry.
No, he did not. Yeah, the Dodgers are going to be a problem. That's a problem for October, though. Here's my contention, and I'm not in any way letting Schwarber, Harper, Turner off the hook, or anybody on the offense, anybody that swings a bat for the Philadelphia Phillies. They have come up small in the postseason. That does not change with this
I
conversation.
sense a butts coming.
Yes.
There is a sneaky amount of blame that you can place on the Phillies bullpen or certain relievers in each of the past 4 postseasons.
Well, the Mets series, the
Yeah.
bullpen blew it.
They did, and it wasn't even bad moves by Rob Thompson. It's just
No,
guys
Rob
didn't-
Thompson
just
managed a
perform.
good series.
They just didn't perform. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard not to point out that the lack of runs put the bullpen in a precarious position.
Absolutely.
Bullpen didn't blow the Dodgers series.
Well,
Rob Thompson being asleep at the wheel blew the Dodgers series.
Hang on now.
He managed a horrendous series.
you're right, but one of the mistakes he made, game 1, winnable
Not
game.
going to Ranger Suarez, which he had said he was going to do, was available to do, is the stupidest thing. Up 4-0 even that game.
Who did he throw? He threw David Robertson, right? And then
Yes.
not only did he throw him once, which he did get out of a situation there, you bring
Then
him
he threw
back
him the next night,
You bring
Yeah,
a 60-year-old
that's where it
man
was
back.
just like,
which he hadn't done all
you're
year
really-
long.
You're chancing a lot with a guy who was basically DFA'd.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
I mean, he was sitting on the pine.
But he hadn't done it all year, and Rob goes, yeah, in the biggest spot of the year, we're going to do it.
And it wasn't him who gave up the home run. It was Matt Strom. And the
It was
reason we were
terrible.
having the conversation.
Yeah, he was really rough.
terrible.
And he'd had a good season.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
It was very disappointing.
But 2 years in a row, he wet the bed.
When you go back to Arizona, we could talk about the Craig Kimbrell appearance out there in Arizona. With
That
a
was
chance for
Rob
the
again,
series.
though. That was a Rob decision again.
Sure. Yes. But
that was a little tougher because it is. I mean, that guy's one of the best of all time.
But he went to him at an odd time.
He had shown that he had that post. I mean, he had done well in the postseason. The Robertson one back to back was so strange.
Oh my gosh!
I'll give him a pass on the Kimbrel one.
Yeah,
he's still got to plate some runs.
Amy.
But here's my argument.
Got to plate some runs.
Yeah, the runs. Right. This doesn't.
I think they're correlating.
Yes, they absolutely are. But this has become a situation, and we'll see how it plays out. It is April 7th today, so
yes.
Not October. I think we can all confirm.
Okay.
6 months until.
If this bullpen remains healthy and the guys perform the way we expect them to perform, which we're already seeing from the top end arms, and you should get better once Wheeler gets back because you'll be able to eat more innings with the starting rotation. So they shouldn't have to be used the way that they have been when you've had like Ranger Suarez missing large portions of the season or Nola goes down for a lot. Like, if this bullpen, the roles stay the same, you don't have those tough decisions for Rob Thompson in October anymore. You really don't. There is
that's
no,
good.
Can I go to a guy we picked up off the street and gave him a prorated half-season rate to throw David Robertson?
I'd pin notes to Rob Thompson before playoff games.
Well, I think your options are all going to be very good options. And so when you're going out there, it's just, it'll be some kind of getting the drop on, does this guy hit lefties or right? It's that kind of strategy as opposed to, oh, I don't know, I just used him. I can't use him again. What about this guy? Well, he's looked a little shaky. You know what I mean? I think that that's such a big difference in decision-making. There's really only one decision, and it's like some kind of, how does this guy do against lefties? How does this guy do against curveball? Whatever, like the strategy is very, very, very specific, as opposed to just trying to guess of like, who might not be crappy today?
Yeah, exactly.
Great. We're going to try a roll the wheel on this guy.
Honestly,
land it on David Robertson. Well, that's not going to work out.
Honestly, Nick Nurse has had some of these problems. Has had some of these things to deal with. He gets a lot of critique, but sometimes he's had to put together a lineup, and I go, how you expect him to make chicken salad out of?
Well, when we go back and you look at some really good wins, and the Timberwolves game is going to be one of those. I go back to that Trailblazers game in Portland where you had no one played in that game.
Right.
As far as your big three, all your money makers, all your guys that have the big salary.
Huge win.
It was a huge win. That's a very good Portland team. So there's games like that, to your point, John, where you're just like, listen, Nick Nurse is going to get his fair share of criticism.
Earned, yeah.
And that's just, he knows that. We all know that. That's what that job entails. And there's times where you're like last night, I'm like, I got why you went with Andre Drummond because you wanted a bigger body, but that did not work out well at all. He is very small doses for him. And there's times where it worked well. The Timberwolves game is an example of that. But when you go back to some of the big wins, you're like, that was a really good win because you didn't have anybody. So for Rob Thompson going forward, you want him to have the luxury. Any manager, coach wants to have the luxury of having their full arsenal and everybody at the availability, so you're making very specific decisions instead of overall kind of just rolling the wheel and just hoping it turns out in your favor because you don't have a lot of options.
Yeah, he won't be perfect. I'll spoil that surprise for you now. Rob Thompson will not be perfect managing the bullpen this year.
That's a big one.
But if to go to the idea of running it back, you look at the lineup, they're running it back. You look at the position players, the rotation, they're running it back. But if you just blindfolded someone to the point of just looking at the bullpen, this feels different.
I feel very good about this bullpen, and I did before the year. I thought that was one of the areas that they had improved. And so I felt like, okay, they improved this area. There's reason for optimism.
And I just wonder how much that could change the ceiling of a team. It feels like a small point because they all throw like one inning each, and it's just the 3 innings at the end of the game, ideally, if you get a good start. But it has been something that's been sneaky, maybe not an Achilles heel, but whatever the next closest thing to that is for the Phillies, because both Achilles heels have been the entire lineup. But
I think that's fair.
I wonder how it changes the ceiling of this team. Something to watch as the season continues to develop. We also always like to keep an eye on the Davis on the text line. So, Austin, what do we have on our big topics of the day from folks that have been chiming in?
Yeah, so majority of the topic today has obviously been Joel Embiid versus Bryce Harper. This is one text from Spaz. I've been out on Embiid. I still have Harper's back. Harper plays through legitimate and actual injuries. Embiid sits out with the sniffles and tummy aches and misses team activities. Embiid is one of the most immature superstar players in Philadelphia sports history. And Amy, you're like this one. He's a bad teammate.
He's a bad teammate.
I think he has to own the unprofessionalism. There have been numerous incidents of unprofessional behavior since he's signed in the NBA.
Yeah,
not
I think he's
conducting
owned
himself.
it. You've heard him talk about that, but I feel like the last couple of years, and I know recency again. We're going to talk about the being sick and not getting sleep and whatever else and missing and sleeping through because he was sick. It's not like he just looked at the alarm clock and said, "I'm not showing up to work today, everyone." But whatever, they knew he was sick. They'd all talked about it. I think they thought that he was going to be there, but whatever. I think that you go back to the rhetoric during that Knicks postseason, that regular season, and the MVP season. It was, wow, he's really matured. Look at the way he's leading this team. You can go back and read all the articles. You can hear all the quotes from everybody inside and outside of Philadelphia. He's really changed. That Raptors series changed him. He focused on himself. He stopped doing all the nonsense. But now, because of what we're seeing the last week and last year, it's like, oh, he hasn't changed. Like, fake injuries, hilarious. Like, what? How's that a fake injury? By the way, it's the same oblique injury that's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. Austin Reeves. So people think like these guys make up these injuries. It's just laughable to me.
Yeah, and that's the outside perspective.
The orbital bone, the things like that, that's not fake.
It's a cracked bone in your. I get it.
And I wouldn't want it.
I get it though. I get it.
Want it on my face.
He is always going to have to own
He's
that.
exhausting.
Because it's been that way.
Yes.
It's been so up and down. It's like the good with the bad. But the thing is, if the good was getting the Sixers to the Eastern Conference Finals, you would take all of it.
Correct.
All of it would be forgotten. And that's the hope. And that's why you just hold on to that one little thing. Like, if you could just get us there.
Well, they still got work to do, and there's, it's going to be a tall task, but they have more steps to take, and they could get some help as well. Coming up, we're going to take a look at what you have to watch tonight. Speaking of exhausting, man, you got a lot of sports to keep track of. You got the Phillies out west. You got rooting interest for the Sixers when you look around the NBA, and the Flyers, a big game against the New Jersey Devils. We'll give you everything you need to know coming up next here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, big night in Philadelphia sports. I feel like we've said that every day for what feels
But
like
isn't
the
it
past
nice,
month.
though? This April has so many of these big moments.
Yeah, it is.
Because it was not the case last year.
Oh, we got plenty of them now.
It was
I'm
not.
all for it. It's like going down to the wire, the last, 5 games for the Flyers, 3 games for the Sixers.
This is awesome.
This is good stuff.
We were
is what
still
we
celebrating
waited
the
for.
Super Bowl last year, which was nice.
Not
But
in April. I mean, I guess we were. Who am I
Yeah, we
kidding?
were still
celebrating. Who am I
Sort of
kidding?
feeling it.
some people were still drunk for the Super Bowl in
Exactly.
April. But we'll take this as well this year with the Sixers and Flyers in the mix. So let's get the easy one out of the way. The Phils have the San Francisco Giants, another late night out there on the West Coast, 9:45 first pitch. If you're so inclined, you do have a great pitching matchup between Christopher Sanchez and Robbie Ray. So that's one to keep an eye on if you're going to be a night owl.
Flyers, you got 2 things. You're watching the Flyers beat the Devils. So that's what you're saying. Flyers beat the Devils. You're listening to it on the Fanatic.
That game at 7 p.m. You can hear it right here.
But you're really watching later just on the scoreboard. You want the Red Wings to beat the Blue Jackets. Red Wings beat the Blue Jackets.
Okay.
That's the game you want to have happen. In regulation, you don't want that to be a 3-point game. Red Wings over Blue Jackets. Flyers win. Red Wings beat the Blue Jackets. I got to tell you, tomorrow morning I will come in and say, get your playoff tickets because it's over. It's over.
I hope you're right. I'm
They're in.
not
They're
going
in.
to make that jump, but
I will. They're
I'm
in.
happy you are.
They're in. Red Wings win. Red Wings win.
So
Flyers win.
Red Wings
They're
in
in.
regulation, Flyers in regulation.
I
and
say
you're
it's
guaranteeing.
over.
Okay.
I say it's
All right.
over with
Okay.
a big O.
Could be a special celebratory day. And as far as the NBA is concerned, the Sixers have 2 rooting interests tonight. You're rooting for Miami to knock
Yes.
off Toronto, even though it does potentially get complicated with Miami down the stretch a little bit.
I don't think
No, it
Miami
doesn't,
can't get
though.
there.
No,
They
but
can't
you
get there.
Play in spots, if you're going to drop even further, maybe they could become a factor. But they can't get to where you need to stay in. is
Right.
the point.
You're going to root for the Heat.
Yes. And then you're rooting for the Celtics to beat the Hornets tonight as well.
Absolutely, you are, because that is a team that can absolutely catch you in the Hornets. The Hornets have a very tough on paper schedule. There are 3 games left, but they're all 3 teams that are probably not playing for much. So
Yeah, the Hornets play at Boston, who's already locked in.
correct.
They have Detroit at home, already locked
And we
in.
saw Detroit lose last
They're
night.
at the Knicks, already locked
The
in.
Knicks are a team that's always interesting to me. We kind of talked about this off air. Like they have nothing to play for. They're going to be locked in at the last game of the season. But I would find it hard to believe that team, the way that they play, would just be like, peace out. I couldn't see it.
Well,
I just can't see it.
Joe Mazzulla is a nutcase, too. So
Exactly.
you never know what Boston's going to do as
But,
far as
like-
their home stretch.
But I feel like, I don't know, some of the players, they have some health issues. Obviously, they wouldn't have Tatum. Do you play Jason Tatum as
No.
much as you would? No, because you
No.
need him to be super fresh. But for the Knicks, I mean, you're going to tell Jalen Brunson to take a couple of plays off? Josh Hart, stop rebounding? It's just, I don't know. Maybe I guess you just don't play them. I guess that's the idea.
There is one
But they'll
thing
have a week off, so.
about going up against the Knicks in the playoff series. Because it's like the Knicks.
I don't hate the matchup, by the way.
I think the coaching matchup is less intimidating than it was a year ago. So that's one thing. I don't want to go up against Tibbs in a playoff series, that defensive style. So I feel better with the coaching matchup. And the Sixers have won at Madison Square Garden twice this year.
Yeah, I like it's a very interesting backcourt matchup if you're looking at the Knicks and the Sixers between Tyrese Maxey and Jalen Brunson. The wings are where that game is going to be won and lost. There's no doubt about it. Joel Embiid owns Karl Anthony Towns. That's not even a concern, not even a blip on my radar as far as who would win that particular matchup. The wings. That's why you get the wings. That's why you have extra wing players. When you guys talk to me at the trade deadline, who do you want? An extra wing player. It's a very long Eastern Conference schedule. Everybody in the East is very long and rangy. And you'd have to have Paul George and Kelly Oubre and Dominic Barlow really come to play because you've got to crash the boards and you have to close out on those 3-point shooters. That's where that game would be won and lost.
If the Sixers beat the Knicks and Joel Embiid had a huge series and they won that
People
series,
would be like, this guy.
that's it. No, I'm telling you, I think that would be one of those memorable playoff type moments.
It would. He played well against the Knicks before.
And then he
they
played
didn't
great
have
in that
Cat
series.
then.
He had 4 great games in that series.
Yeah.
Great games. And then if they could go and then win a second round series,
Yeah, I think anything.
then you think different.
To your point, there is a little bit of like this is extra gravy, which is hard to say when you've got 3 max players, but whole chunks of the season where you are missing 25 games for Paul George. In that span, they went 13-12. Joel Embiid missed 19 of those. Tyrese Maxey missed 9. That's remarkable to me. Like when you go back and look
It
at
could have been the 5 seed easily.
If you have just a couple more of those games, it's just like, so you're going to have that, but then do you just take that with the bad of, well, we could have also had none of those games and been out of the playoffs completely.
Paul George sunk the season. If Paul George doesn't selfishly get a suspension, they're the 5 seed. They absolutely are the 5
because they don't hold water during those 25. That's what they did, which is remarkable. They held water, missing giant chunks of their team. 13-12 in that span is very impressive.
Incredible.
No, I'm not ready to say sunk the season because there have still been enough issues with this team to question their playoff viability.
Well, they wouldn't have. They wouldn't be. They wouldn't. They'd have no danger of the play-in tournament, and they wouldn't be the 6th seed.
Exactly. You'd feel better. You'd be like, all right, well, we're maybe jockeying between 5 and 6, and not 7, 8,
not 6, 7.
There you go.
Exactly.
You had to, didn't you? But here's what I will say, and that's the knock on wood. They are healthy right now.
Healthier, yes.
Are they?
Yeah, they're
as healthy as any team, I guess, right now.
Yeah, they're
Sixers
not
the Lakers.
No, we're not the Lakers.
Man, I'm going to say the magic words. Healthy right now. So we'll see
with
if
the
that
Sixers.
ends up.
That can be somebody falling in the shower.
Yeah, I kind of wish you hadn't said that.
I knocked on wood. Well,
it's not. That's
whistle past the graveyard. This is like polycarbonate. I don't know what
there's wood somewhere in the studio.
That's not wood either.
Someone find the baseball bat.
I'm going to find one and I'm going to hit him with it.
I can't believe you said
you
that
don't
out loud.
say
3
it.
games to go.
Like you don't
I'm
say
just going to blame
these
it on
things.
Andrew Salciunas.
Don't you remember that I turned to, we were in Vegas for it was draft night. Sixers are closing out the Toronto Raptors.
No.
The game's done.
Yeah.
And I turned to one Robert Cooney and I say, why is Joel Embiid still in this game? And he goes, yeah, maybe in like another minute or two. I don't know. He was injured in the next 15 seconds. And I swear to you, I was like, you got to be kidding me. This thing's happened. Let's hope it's going to be a different spring. Look, it's a different spring for the Flyers.
Yes.
So maybe it's going to be a different spring for the Sixers. Maybe there's going to be magic.
Hope springs eternal,
Well,
everyone.
we know that we're going to get at least the play-in game or 2 from the Sixers, and the Flyers in postseason position right now. The Phillies have put together a nice 4 out of their last 5, or 5 out of their last 6, actually. And we've got some good sports stuff coming on. Later in the week, we are going to dive a little deeper into the Eagles because the draft is just a little over 2 weeks away. So you do not want to go anywhere as we continue to break down one of the hottest times of the sports year here in Philadelphia. Thank you, Amy, so much for joining us to help us do it.
Thanks, Amy.
We'll see you on Friday. I will not see you on Friday.
I will be at a wedding.
You got it locked down.
That's right.
So we got it covered, and we're going to have great stuff to talk about all week here, and you can see Amy on Sixers pre- and post-game as well. So that's all for our time. Middays with Marks comes your way next. Ray Dunn is smiling ear to ear because he had Michigan last night's national championship game.
You can buy a new board with that.
You might need to, Mr. Coffee. But they are a wonderful program, and you should listen to them every day. And we got great stuff. All of this leading you up to Flyers, essentially a playoff game, 7 p.m. tonight here on the